Hi, this is Davion from the future telling you that Davion's an idiot. So it's been a long time since I've recorded on OBS, and I recorded in a format that had to be converted. And when I recorded in that format, it took both audios and smushed them together. So there are some times, basically, if you don't want to hear Eric echo, I had to do it this way. So I apologize. Eric did nothing wrong. Eric recording was flawless. Eric did phenomenal. Usually it's Eric that has the errors. This time it was Davion. So I'm sorry about that. I hope you guys enjoy this video, this podcast episode. It's going to be great. We love to talk about football. It's a long one, so load up your car ride or coffee or whatever the heck you got to do. I like to listen to these types of things in the background while I'm working from home. So please do so. I am so sorry about the audio issues, and I hope they are for sure fixed in the next episode. I can't believe I messed it up. They will be fixed in the next. I haven't recorded that yet. Obviously, we have to watch football games first. So enjoy week one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, wherever you're at. We'd really appreciate it. Hearts, loves, thank yous, and enjoy week one of football and this awesome podcast episode from Behind the Plays. We'll see you guys.
It must be September because we're a bit rusty.
All right.
All creation through bomb and form, the greatest to ever do it like Kareem in the form, or Dame at the buzzer, Skip at the rucker, 96 Bulls, the GOAT, there's no other. Bulls and Goats get some wins, but never cover. The word gave the answer to sin, no stuff.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Behind the Plays for our fifth? Is this our fifth time doing football?
Is this 5?
Is this 5? Is this the goal? Is this the golden year of 5? Now I have to know.
This is 5.
I think it's 5. That's crazy.
Yeah, because
football season.
We did it. Is it 6?
Is it 6? I thought it was 5.
Listen, we did one last year. That was our first year back in Reno. I know we did both years when I was in Vegas.
Correct.
And
we did.
I think it was just 1 year before I moved.
I think it was 2 years while I was in, because we moved at the same time.
Right.
And
so how many years did you do this how many years did you do this when you lived in Vegas?
I think it was 2.
So then this is 6. Yeah, because the very first year we weren't doing video. The second year we did video and we were in Reno. See, this is 6. You mean I finally beat you in pick'ems for the first time in year 5, and you brought me on to be your football dude?
No, this is 5. This is 5. I only did it 1 year before I moved.
Okay, then I must have only done it 1 year before.
Season 1, I have all the audios. Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so then this is 5.
So the 2023-2024 season was season 4 for us.
Okay.
Still though, 5?
This is 5.
Wow, welcome to season 5 of Behind the Plays Football Edition. I am your host, Davion. I also go by Davion OW on all platforms, and with me is the man, the myth, the legend, the football guy, Eric.
the football guy who finally beat you in pick'ems.
Right?
I'm gonna keep reminding you of that, by the way.
Just the scoreboard. 3-1. I'm still 3-1. Fine, I'll live.
I'll live. It took me one. Give me this one thing.
I'll let you have it until the end of the season when I inevitably take it back. All right, so
we'll see.
We have an awesome template here for you today. We are gonna rock through our preseason kind of predictions, our full standings, I guess, power rankings. I don't know how to word this properly. I'm kind of an idiot sometimes. And then we're gonna do our way too early playoff predictions, because we always do. And we didn't do half bad last year. If the Jets didn't die, we probably would have been pretty good. And then we'll go through and pick our week ones, which will probably be very similar to what we put in our predictions preseason, because we did them both like 2 days ago. And then that'll be it. That'll be the whole podcast episode.
Do you remember your Super Bowl prediction last year at the beginning of the year? I remember mine was Bengals Eagles.
Mine was definitely like Eagles Chiefs. It was this. I think it was the salty run back.
Must have been. So then you were closer than me, objectively, because the Chiefs actually made it to the Super Bowl.
Well, and I had the Niners going to the
Bengals
again. So
the Bengals didn't make the playoffs last year. So
Joe Burrow also died last year. So
that's
unfortunate. But news is crazy this year, because the year of before we get into football stuff, can we talk briefly about all the cool things that have happened this year? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
College football came back.
Yeah.
Backyard sports is coming back.
Huge, by the way.
Huge. Dude,
Huge.
Dragon Ball Z is releasing in a month, and it's a Budokai Tenkaichi game. It's crazy. It's like everything is. It's all back. It's all back. So I thought it was just cool to just want to. Backyard sports is crazy because we did the whole backyard.
That's huge.
Backyard football in Madden was really fun. That was a really fun thing I did, and I was like, well, now I never have to do it again. I'll just play backyard sports.
Yeah, we could just do this the hard way.
Oh man, it's crazy.
Well, to be fair, all the promotional stuff they've been doing, it seems like they're only doing baseball so far.
Yeah, but I would be,
you know,
I'm
but
assuming
like
they're gonna
still.
bring back them all because they had a release of what was your favorite, and it had all the sports games on it. So I hope that
Right.
they have. Like, I never played the basketball one. Never.
I never played the basketball one either.
I played baseball and football. That was it.
That was it. They had basketball. I'm pretty sure. I want to say they had like
I think they had
soccer and hockey too. Yeah.
Crazy. But we're gonna have a lot of fun this season. Me and Eric were talking about it. I think that a lot of the middle of the pack teams, or some of the bad teams that we had, are gonna move up to the middle of the pack, and some teams got better this season. And the NFC looks a lot more competitive than it has in years past.
Yep, it's a lot more balanced. Yes, I agree. Like, I don't think the AFC got actively worse, but I think the NFC got a little bit better, which like in turn makes the AFC look a little worse. Okay. I think overall the AFC is better than the NFC still, but I think the discrepancy is much smaller.
I agree.
There's a smaller margin of error.
Yep. I agree. All right. I'm excited to get started on this. So for the power rankings, how do you want to do it? So I have mine in divisions, and I also have them set from 16 to 1. So
I have also mine 16 to 1 in both conferences.
Let's do that. Let's go who we think the bottom of the teams are and move them up as we go, and then we can get to what our playoff teams look like.
Okay.
I think.
Did I have?
Well,
yes, it did work out. It did work out perfect. Yeah, it did work out perfectly that my top 7 teams are my playoff teams. I didn't base mine directly on record, but I think kind of glancing at it, it looks like it went into record-ish.
Yeah, I think there's one team that I would maybe like. There's like my. This is normal though. I feel like my 8, 9, 10 in the NFC could all be flipped. I feel like that's just normal with any power rankings. You can literally flip 2 teams like right next to each other at any point.
Right.
But I think my bottom is very bottom, mid is very mid, and then my top feels like the right teams.
Yeah, I think once you get higher than 14 in both conferences, things get a little bit bit funky for sure.
Maybe
like I
think I would flip these 2 teams, I guess.
I think at least in my AFC, my 8 through my 13 can really be exchanged.
I'm gonna change one thing on this then. It's a fun
Shout out to the NFC South.
It's a fun division.
Are they still the worst? Are they still the worst division in football?
Yes.
Kind of feel like the answer is yes as well. Like, I feel like they had the worst team. You know, and I don't feel like they have. I feel like they have 3 good, not great teams. You know, I could make
have a mid team and 2 good, not great teams.
Fair enough. But like, you can make an argument that the AFC West is not very good because I think the Chiefs are the only good team there.
Yeah, but I also think the other 2 are not. I think both of those teams are better than the 2 and 3 out of the South. But it could be closer than I think it is. It's closer than I think it is, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's either the NFC South or the AFC West.
Yeah, the Chiefs just carry that division.
Exactly.
So, unless Bo Nix goes crazy.
You never know. Bo Nix kind of went crazy in the preseason, but every time I have hope, I get disappointed. So I'm not doing it this year.
No hope. All right.
I'm pretty sure I say that every year, and then I do it.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Copium always oversteps. You know what I'm saying?
I want the Broncos to be above 500 this year, and if we can do that, I consider this a win.
All right, dude. Just being over 500 might make the playoffs.
You never know.
All right. So, do you want to start in I feel like we always start in the AFC. Do you want to let's kick things off in the NFC this season?
Let's do it. Why not?
So my 16th team, I feel like we're going to be very universal about who the bottom 4 teams are. I think it clearly is going to come down to order, but the worst of the worst in the NFC is the Carolina Panthers. I don't think they improved enough. That's
an easy 16.
I don't think they improved enough this offseason, and it's just tough. So, I think that's easy 16.
No, they sold their first overall pick, which they would have earned last year, to the Bears. Yep. I think if they got the opportunity to make that pick, they were potentially more confident about the Panthers, because I think we're potentially talking about them drafting probably like Marvin Harrison Jr. at that point then.
Correct. Right.
You know, and I think I'm a little bit more confident in the Panthers at that point. I currently have the Panthers finishing 3-14.
I have them at 2-15, so same
Yeah.
thing.
I don't.
Similar.
Yeah, I don't have a tremendous amount of confidence in the Panthers.
No, not at all. I have them stealing a couple of home games. That was it, really.
What games did I even have them winning? I can actually double check real quick.
I couldn't even tell you off the top of my head. I think it was two. I think I had them beating the Saints and the Buccaneers at home. No, it was the Saints and one other team in the conference. It might have been the Vikings or something weird like that.
I have them stealing a game from the Falcons.
Okay.
I have them stealing a game from the Saints.
The Saints one I had.
And I have them stealing a game from the Cardinals.
Yeah, it was the Cardinals. That's who it was for me then.
Yeah.
Probably was the Cardinals
So,
or the Saints was my 2 wins.
Yeah, I have them stealing an extra game from the Falcons, which is probably a bit of an upset. I'll admit it.
It could happen.
But still, yeah.
All right. 15.
15 and 14 I kind of feel like are interchangeable because I feel like these teams are better than they are. And it kind of feels like these teams are a little bit unfortunate, I think is a better way to describe them than they are bad.
Yeah, I agree.
So right now I have 15 Giants.
I have 15 as Vikings.
Okay, I have 14 as Vikings.
I have 14 as Giants. So yeah, we're on the
reasonable
same spot there.
Yeah.
I think the only
Yeah,
reason
we're
I
in
have
the
the
same
Giants
ballpark.
a little bit higher is only because their defense is extremely stacked, and I think
Mhm.
they're probably like, and Malik Neighbors I think adds a lot.
Yeah.
I think it really comes down to, is Daniel Jones going to actually play like 2 years ago? Is he going to be Danny Dimes or what's going on? Like that's all it is. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day for me.
No, I'm inclined to agree, and the Giants is going to ride on Daniel Jones' success. And
Correct.
last year he wasn't very successful, but 2 years ago he was very successful.
Correct.
And the Giants made the playoffs that year, right? They were a wild card team. I think they won a playoff game. Yeah. So
Pretty sure every NFC East team, not the Commanders, made the playoffs and won a playoff game. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I am more like, I want to be surprised if the Giants had a decent year, but I feel like I'm more confident in every other team.
Yeah, I feel like their ceiling can be like 8 games, like 9 wins.
Yeah,
like 8,
totally.
9 wins could be definitely happening.
Absolutely, and
unfortunately for them, I
that
think
could be
in the
good enough.
NFC
That
this
could
year,
be like
I
9
think it
wins.
might be good enough.
Yeah, 9 wins could be good enough to make the playoffs
Yeah,
this year. You know, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. All right.
I think I ultimately gave the one up to the Vikings because I feel like if none of the crazy shit that happened to the Vikings happened, then I feel like the Vikings are better than the Giants. You know, if none of the crazy shit that happened to the Vikings, we're potentially talking about Vikings maybe being somewhere more like 12-11 potentially.
I agree. Yeah, they just had a lot of unlucky circumstances happen with them.
They did, yes. So JJ McCarthy got hurt. He's done for the year. They're planning on starting Sam Darnold right now.
Which is tough.
Yeah. Nick Mullins is the backup, and they brought somebody else in that I saw.
It was another vet.
They released Jaron Hall.
They brought in another.
They brought in Brett Rippon.
Yeah,
that's who it was. It's former Denver Broncos quarterback Brett Rippon, by the way. Broncos
we're already here.
quarterback mentioned.
Yep.
Here. And they also had a very unfortunate circumstance.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to remember. I'm Googling right now.
It was their cornerback, right?
Yes, Kyrie Jackson.
Damn.
Yes. So he passed away at the beginning of July in a car accident. I believe he was their 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
4th round pick.
Yeah.
It looks like. So yeah, very unfortunate circumstance. May he rest in peace for sure. It's tough to see a young talent like that, especially someone who, you know, this theoretically was about to be the peak of his life going to the NFL, and it's just kind of unfortunate that all that is ripped away so suddenly.
And we're just seeing it more and more recently with, especially car accidents. It happened in the NBA too this past, I think 2 seasons ago. It was either last season or the season before last, where a similar situation happened. So,
there was a hockey player. Did you hear about this?
Too. Yeah, that just happened
on Wednesday. Yeah,
that just happened. Like,
who passed away? Who was hit by a drunk driver? Yeah, and it's just very unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's like, I know a lot of athletes get a bad rep when it comes to driving and all the situations they have, but a lot of these situations were just not their fault. It really sucks.
Exactly, and it's really unfortunate. It's like, you know, these things happen, and when these things happen to people that a lot of people know, it seems a little bit more dramatic.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, yeah. So I ultimately gave the 14 nod to the Vikings because I feel like if those two things didn't happen, it doesn't feel like there's such like a dark cloud over the Vikings.
Yeah.
And I genuinely feel like the Vikings are potentially more like 12 to 11
Yeah. I think they have
if
the
these
potential to
things
be
don't
better,
happen.
but
So I ultimately said they're better than the Giants, I think, for that reason.
I think they need another year. I think once they have that extra year,
I do
McCarthy
too.
gets
I think
healthy. I think JJ
JJ
could be
McCarthy
good.
gets healthy.
If Jettis wants to stick around, all that stuff,
Yeah,
it's gonna be good.
reinforce your defense a bit, reinforce your O line a bit, and I think they're in a good spot.
Yeah, they are gonna be in a great spot.
Yep.
Giants, I think depending on how this season goes, is what you need to figure out what you want to do with Daniel Jones. You might have to bite the bullet and pull like an Eagles Carson Wentz situation, draft a guy, cut, and bite the bullet on the cap, and go about your day. So, yeah,
potentially.
all right.
Who's
13.
quarterbacking? Who are quarterback prospects next year?
That's a good question. Shador Sanders.
Well, like, is it Shador, like Quinn Ewers? I'm pretty sure.
QB draft class 25. Shador Sanders, Carson Beck, who's the Georgia quarterback. Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers, Jalen Monroe,
Cam Ward from Miami. I don't know anybody else.
Riley Leonard out of Notre Dame, Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss, Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon, Connor Wiegman out of Texas A&M, Drew Aller out of Penn State. This is just the PFF like top 10 or whatever.
I was looking at PFF too. Oh, the Florida State dude. I don't even want to DJ. I don't even want to try saying his last name.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that guy's solid. Oh, the dude from shoot, it's Ty Thompson. Is he Tulane? Is that what school he goes to? I know he was a transfer.
Mm-hmm.
At Oregon and transferred. Yeah, he's Tulane. Yep, he's solid too. He's like 6'4".
Yeah. Carson Beck is right now the favorite to be QB1.
Yeah, between him, Shador, and Quinn Ewers, I think are the top three that are getting.
Yeah, those are probably your top threes right now.
Correct. Yeah, and then on top of that, I think Travis Hunter. I think depending on I don't know what they're gonna do with him when it comes to what position he's gonna play, but he is insane.
Oh yeah, he's just an insane athlete. You know, he reminds me a lot of. This might be a bad analogy, but you remember Isaiah Simmons? He was drafted by the Cardinals.
Yeah, I know who that is.
It kind of felt like Isaiah Simmons could play anywhere on defense.
Yeah.
And it kind of felt like you can draft him and have him play whatever. Like the Cardinals played him and drafted him and had him play kind of like a safety linebacker.
He plays like
type.
How CJ Gardner-Johnson plays. CJ
like a Minkah Fitzpatrick type,
yes, exactly. Plays in the box.
Yeah.
Plays safety and can guard a lot of people.
Right. So it feels like you have that kind of an athlete who can kind of do whatever you want. I definitely think improves his draft confidence. He's probably a top 5 pick, provided that he doesn't have a dramatic turn.
Even further, like he could probably be a top 10 as a wide receiver if that's what he wants to play.
Yeah, especially if currently I think we both agree that like projection wise, the Panthers will probably have the first overall pick next year.
Yeah, between them and
Travis Hunter is probably not a bad pick.
No, not at all.
For a team that is hopefully confident in Bryce Young.
Yeah, and they definitely could be someone they use, absolutely. Or, if someone's looking for a quarterback, you can finally make up some of those draft picks, trade out to like 3, 4.
Mm-hmm.
They get their pick.
Yeah, let somebody take Carson Beck and then you get Travis Hunter at 3. Love that idea. Something like that.
Then get some of your picks back, maybe revamp, and you're good. But
yeah, because we're looking at potentially like QB needy teams next year. Probably won't be the Vikings, but Giants are maybe one of those, depending on what Daniel Jones does.
All right. Vikings shouldn't be needy. I mean, the Titans could be needy. The Patriots shouldn't be needy.
I'm thinking like Seahawks maybe, depending on what we see with Geno.
Yeah, there's a lot of young quarterbacks right now I'm looking at. The Jets might be QB needy if you really think about it.
Raiders.
Yeah, that's tough. I think the Jets find someone in free agency. I'll say this too. I think the Cowboys could be QB needy here in the near future. I don't know.
Maybe
with the people they just paid, I don't know if they're gonna have enough money to pay Dak.
Well, Dak was drafted in 2016, so this will be year 9 for him, I think, something like that.
I think his extension's up at the end of this season.
Yeah.
I think it's either this season.
I can't think of who else. Maybe Detroit. It feels like they like Jared Goff, but it kind of feels like Jared Goff's. Yeah, like I love Jared Goff, but if it feels like we call Jared Goff a Band-Aid often.
Yeah, but
I don't
he's
quite
been more of a
think Jared Goff is a Band-Aid. He's been better than that for sure, but at some point in the next maybe 2 to 3 years, we're looking at moving on from Jared Goff.
right. Yes.
So, maybe
Dak is
the
going
Lions
into
do
this
something.
offseason, by the way.
Maybe the Lions pull a Packers and do what they did with Rodgers, what they did with Jordan Love.
I could see Dak's
Something
gonna be a
like
free
that.
agent, so I think he's at this point. It seems like he's probably leaving. He could be one of the people that goes to like the Jets because Rodgers retires. The Lions.
Dak to Detroit, Dak to New York. That'd be fucked up. I was thinking
Crazy.
the other New York Giants, but
yeah, I would.
I realized
hate
I
that.
need to be more specific. That
I would hate that.
I was about to call
Vegas.
them the Oakland Raiders. Vegas, I think it's an option.
Yeah, prime pick. Pittsburgh, depending on what's going on with Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of primes. He could be a Bronco. Yep. Broncos like to pay
Tennessee.
a lot of random quarterbacks.
Sure, why not? Let's just start collecting them like they're Infinity Stones.
Honestly, I think you already have. All right, let's move on. 13.
There's a reason why former Denver Broncos quarterback has become a bit of a meme on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if I throw a dart at a dartboard of every quarterback who's currently in the NFL, I bet you I unironically have like a 6% chance of hitting somebody who's played for the Broncos, which is depressing.
Yeah, it's a lot of quarterbacks have played for the Broncos, especially in recent times.
Yep.
All right, 13. I have this one felt weird, but I just don't know what to do with them yet. I feel like there's so much potential there that I want to give them more, but I don't know. So I put the Cardinals here.
Okay. So I think my 12 and my 13 are both my teams that are, I think, not good but rising.
I think the Cardinals are on the move. I think they have the potential to be really good. It really comes down to because Kyler's missed a couple of weird times, and then it's had some weird times when he had a really, really good receiver. He was good, and then it's like, but this feels like a good team soon.
Yes,
not now.
Yes, I agree. I will tell you now. I have the Cardinals at 12. I have the Commanders at 13, and I'm not happy about it.
Okay, I have the Commanders a little bit higher than that.
Yeah, I'm not happy about it because I do feel like the Commanders are better than are definitely on the up and up, and I feel like they're on the rise.
I agree.
I don't feel like they're there yet.
I
think they need some seasoning. They need to cook a little bit longer.
I could talk about it a little bit more when I get to them when they come up on mine because it's gonna be a couple. It might be a minute, but yeah. I love what the Cardinals are doing. It just feels weird because they keep being this talk about Kyler Murray this, Kyler Murray that. What is going on with Kyler Murray? Is he gonna play? Is he gonna do this? What is going on? And it feels like that holds them back a lot. So. That's
exactly. It felt like
they play in the same division as the Rams and Niners right now, who are just infinitely better in my opinion.
Exactly, so and I don't think the Seahawks are exactly a pushover either.
Agreed. So, yep.
Yeah. So, I love the draft pick of Marvin Harrison Jr. for Arizona. It's a great pick for them. That in a lot of circumstances, he could have been the first overall pick last year.
Correct.
And they got him at 4, which is an absolute steal from them.
Because everybody needed quarterbacks, and it helped out a ton.
And the Cardinals definitely felt like a different team once Kyler Murray came back last year.
Agreed. They won games. They won
games.
All the games
and it felt like they were competitive in every game he played at bare minimum.
Agreed.
So yeah, I do like the Cardinals. I feel like there's just more teams that I'm more confident in.
Like I don't think they're winning a division. I think they have the potential to actually be low key can be a playoff team. But this is what I feel like. It feels weird ranking them this low, but I have to see it to believe it first. I feel like that's my mindset.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you said you had the Cardinals at 12. Who's your 13 was the Commanders.
Right. So who's your 12?
My 12 is the Saints.
Okay. I have the Saints a little bit higher.
I don't know if it's just me or it's just something with them. It's just like they should have won the division last year and they threw it away on multiple occasions. And I don't trust them to win games again because now the rest of the teams have gotten better and they kind of just didn't. They just kind of stood still. And I love that they grabbed Carr, but they outside of Shaheed.
Shaheed.
Yeah, who else is on that team? Like Kamara,
Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, Chris Olave.
They don't even use Jamal Williams.
Cam Jordan,
like how he was used in Detroit. They don't use him like that.
No,
I forgot about Chris Olave. I respect Chris Olave.
Demario Davis, Tyrann Matthews on the Saints still.
Yes, but he also played like trash last season.
Yeah, you know what? I forgot about one thing as well. I originally had the Saints as high as 10. I'm going to bump them down to 11 real quick because I forgot about one thing.
Okay.
Which is that Ryan Ramczyk is out for the year, which I think does make a difference.
Oh, yeah, it's a big difference. It's just I don't know. I have them at 7-10 on the season, and I feel like that's like I think they could be a 10-win team. Mm-hmm. I easily think they could flip 3 of those games, but I basically the 3 games that I felt like were 50-50s that they could win, I gave them losses on because I feel like they're on the road, and that's what hurts them the most. Because I have them splitting their division, right? They win all their home the division games. I have them losing all their losing all their away division games, and then I'm like, okay, what are the 50-50s? And I'm like, okay, well, I think they lose them because they're tough.
Yeah. So if we backpedal a little bit, I guess, what was your predicted record for the Giants
and the Vikings? Both the Vikings and Giants at 3-14, and I feel like they could win more games than that. I couldn't willingly.
I have them both at 5-12.
They easily could be 5-12. I had the Cardinals at 5-12 as well. Like I think Cardinals can win more games than that.
Yeah, I had the Cardinals at 6-11. I also had the Commanders at 6-11.
Okay, yeah, and I that's fine. I think I had the Commanders as low as 6 wins. I had them as high as like 11 wins. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, I have the Saints at 8-9 currently.
Yeah, 7-10. So I think I think I'm our 50-50 games. We're just going in opposite directions.
Yeah, and that's fine.
That's all it is. And we're like I think 2 games away, 2 wins away is very solid for predictions.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I think we genuinely think along the same lines most of the time.
We usually do. Like, our power rankings every year are not that far off.
No, not at all. Okay, so 11.
Okay, so you have Saints at 12. So I originally had the Saints at 10. I swapped them to 11.
Okay.
So who's your 11?
This is where I have the Seahawks.
Okay, I have the Seahawks a little bit higher than this.
Okay, I have them at 7-10, and I think it's the same situation as the Saints, where I think they have really, really good pieces, but Geno had his phenomenal season 2 seasons ago, and it did not reciprocate last season.
Yeah.
And I don't plan on it reciprocating this season. Because their shocker games they won, Drew Lock was the quarterback.
It's true.
Which is crazy to say. So, like...
Yeah, he's in New York now.
Yeah. So, like...
Wait, hold on. Sam Howell signed with the Seahawks?
Yes, he's a Seahawk. He got traded. He got traded.
When did that happen? I thought Sam Howell was in the...
He was on the Commanders. He got traded.
I know he was on the Commanders. I thought he went to the UFL or whatever.
No, he got traded to the Seahawks.
Who am I thinking of? Oh, I'm thinking of somebody else. Okay. Who am I thinking of?
I have no clue. I couldn't tell you. I just remember because he was on my fantasy team and he was cooking for me for a little bit.
He was the Panthers quarterback. He was a backup for the Panthers that was drafted in like the 3rd round in the same draft class as Sam Howell. I can't think of who it was.
Oh God. I don't know.
He played at UNC. I remember that much. This is gonna bug me. I gotta Google it.
PJ Walker.
No.
Was it not? Didn't you go?
No, it was a white guy.
Oh well, then yeah, definitely not PJ Walker.
Oh no, Sam Howell played at UNC.
Correct.
So who am I thinking of?
Yeah, Bryce Young, Andy Dalton right now. What was their depth chart last year? Let's look. Let's find out because it's gonna bug us otherwise.
I don't think he ever started for them. So this would have been... When was Kenny Pickett drafted? Was that 2022? Or 2021?
Yes. He was drafted 2 seasons ago.
Yes, it would have been 2022 because 2021 was like Kellen Mond.
Oh, Malik Willis.
No, not Malik Willis. He plays for the Titans.
He's not. Yeah, he's a Titan. My bad. Was it that draft class then?
I'm pretty sure it was. I could have sworn he was like a 3rd round guy.
I remember Malik Willis went 3rd. He was the first quarterback taken off the board, though. Or no, I'm sorry. Sam Howell was in that draft.
It was Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett. Matt Corral is who I'm thinking of.
He went to Ole Miss.
That's who I'm thinking of.
There we go. I pulled up the draft class. There it is.
Yeah, because that was like Desmond Ridder and all that. Yeah, that was such an ass QB draft class.
Yeah, none of those QBs start. That's tough.
No.
Kenny Pickett was supposed to be good, and then they got 2 quarterbacks. Wasn't Fields in that draft class?
No, Fields was with like T-Law.
Oh, that's right.
That was like T-Law, Mac Jones, Fields, and Trey Lance.
And only one of them is starting.
Yep.
All right. Cool. So,
yeah. Okay. So I think at the end of the day, the big thing with the Seahawks, so you have at 11, right?
Yes, correct. 7 and 10 as well. And again, I think I can flip games. It's
yeah. I have the Seahawks going 8 and 9 because I do like their team. I do like a lot of the pieces that they have. I love their receiving core. I love DK, Tyler Lockett, and JSN.
Love it.
I really like Kenny Walker. I feel like Geno Smith is serviceable.
Yes.
And I think their defense is solid. You know, like I really like Leonard Williams. I really like Julian Love. Like lots of good pieces there.
Yeah, I agree.
What the Seahawks do not have anymore is Pete Carroll.
Correct. That's what it.
And I think that makes a huge difference.
He's literally been the one that helped that team move forward because you got to understand Russell Wilson was phenomenal in him, and when you really look at Russell Wilson's career, it's not as great as we felt like it was advertised when he came over to Denver and all that stuff. And it's on top of that, you play in a division again with the Niners and the Rams and the Cardinals. We have already stated are not pushovers. We think that they can definitely go out and win football games. I think the Cardinals can finish above the Seahawks in standings for sure. It's just it's really 50-50 games for me is what flipped those a lot from. Is really tough on the Seahawks and the Cardinals because I think the Rams and Niners are just better, and it's really really tough. But we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, I will say, I had my Seahawks at 10, so they were my 11.
Got it.
That I bumped up. That I swapped with the Saints.
And I think this is where we finally come back because my 10 is the Commanders.
Okay,
so our middle of the pack teams are the same. I agree. I just have mine a little bit. I have the Commanders higher. That's all it is.
Okay, so we haven't gotten the chance to talk about the Commanders yet. Let's do that a bit.
I would love to because I think that they did a lot of good things.
I do. I think losing Jahan Dotson kind of sucks.
Sucks for sure.
But,
losing another weapon for your rookie quarterback always sucks. But you still have Scary Terry, who I think is awesome. As much crap as I give the Commanders as a division rival, I think Scary Terry is phenomenal.
Even if Jaden Daniels doesn't, pan out to be ready or whatever like that, and he needs a little bit of time, Marcus Mariota, Jeff Driscoll are their backups.
Yeah,
not the worst options in the world. Not the worst options in the world.
I think it's great. I think Daniels is in a good situation. Their coach is solid too, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on.
Who'd they pick up? Who's their coach?
It's Dan Quinn. That's why.
It was Dan Quinn. That's why. That's right. Cool. I was thinking of the guy who went to the Panthers.
Yeah.
Who was in Tampa.
Yeah. So I think it's awesome. Dan Quinn has had his ups and downs, but he had a big resurgence. Dan Quinn led the Falcons to the Super Bowl. Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day,
that's not worth nothing.
And then on top of that, I think this is cool moves. Anyone can argue with me on this. Their receiving core, even though they traded Jahan Dotson, isn't bad. Alameda Zaccheaus is their second receiver. That was the third receiver for the Eagles last season, and he made some awesome plays and is a phenomenal blocker. And they need that wide receiver blocking because they have Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler.
Yes, I think bringing in Austin Eckler is a great choice for them. I love the trade to get or the pickup of Noah Brown too.
I was about to say that him, and then they still have Jamison Crowder. They got Zach Ertz, which it's whatever. Their offensive line got a little bit better, but they drafted a tight end, didn't they?
They drafted Luke McCaffrey. They drafted Ben Sinnott.
Luke McCaffrey, I'm sorry, was a receiver. I apologize.
Yes.
And he's solid. Their defensive line is good. It was great, but it's not as good as it once was. They picked up Bobby Wagner, which I think is solid for them.
That's a good.
Who's awesome. I really like their team. I think they have potential to actually. They could maybe, if they're depending on how Dan Quinn does as a coach and how Jaden Daniels steps up. Sorry, I'm basketball. Jaden McDaniels on the brain.
No Mick.
No Mick. small forward for the Minnesota Timberwolves name is Jaden McDaniels, and I had to say his name about 75 times because that's who the Mavericks played in the conference championship this last season. And yeah, I think depending on how he plays, I think this Commanders team can be actually really, really solid. And I mean, who knows what they could do, depending on how
I'm inclined to agree. Yep. I like Jaden Daniels. I think I had him low because I want them to cook a little bit. I want them to prove it to me.
You have to see it.
You know, I want to see.
I have him at 10. I mean, I don't think it's what you have him at 12,
13.
Like I don't think that's, and they're 10 and they're 8 and 9, right? They're not. They're 2 games away, right?
Yeah, I have them 6 and 11 because I think I'm losing a few more 50-50s than you, but that's okay.
Agreed. I have them. I think I have them stealing a game at home against the Cowboys, which I'm assuming you probably didn't give them.
I might have. I'm not ultra high on the Cowboys this year.
But neither am I. But you're never ultra high on the Cowboys.
That's true.
Yeah. So actually, I take.
But I'm like uncharacteristically low on the Cowboys this year, though.
I had them stealing the home game against the Cowboys and the home game against the Eagles, and I was like, they were like 12-5, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna flip a few of these.
Yeah.
It's like they're not that good. But they could be if they win they're playing a lot of meh teams because they were meh.
I'm pretty sure.
Season.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, looking at the numbers, I have Washington going 2-4 in the division, so I bet you they steal the home game from the Giants, and I'm pretty sure I had them stealing a home game from the Eagles. No, because I had the Eagles going 5-1. I'm pretty sure the one I had them losing was in Jerry World.
Yep, that's same. So, yeah. I have both the Eagles and Cowboys. Their only loss is to each other at home on the road, and then the Commanders win both games against the Giants. I don't have the Giants winning a single divisional game. But you know what else is new? But yeah, Commanders at 10. I like what they're cooking, and I agree. I honestly could have. I think they have the ceiling to be a playoff team this season. It really comes down to Jaden Daniels. I really do.
Yeah.
I think they have really good potential. Like Austin Eckler's is their backup running back basically, and I think that's crazy. So. Yeah.
Okay. So that's our bottom 10.
Which is crazy.
Who's barely missing the cut in the top 50%?
You know what's crazy about this is that we haven't talked about the Bears yet.
I have the Bears at 9.
I don't. I have the Bucks at 9.
Really? I think the Bucks are a playoff team.
I think they just missed the playoffs in mine. They're like a game.
I had the Bucks way higher, so that's interesting. I have the Bears at 9.
All right. Yep, I got the Bucks at 9.
I had the Bears going 7-10, which I think is a huge improvement.
Drastic improvement for sure.
Because
I have them having a winning record this season.
Similar to the Commanders, I want to see it first.
I get it. I think the team is overly stacked on offense.
It is. It's kind of crazy all the shit the Bears did.
They actually help their O-line finally. They helped their trenches defensively. They did. They got a quarterback who, based off of what I've seen, looks awesome. Hopefully he can show that against. Hopefully he doesn't have any rookie growing pains. But he could, and we could definitely see it.
Love the acquisitions of Swift and Keenan Allen. Yes.
Like awesome to add with DJ Moore, and they drafted Rome God, I can never say his last name. Adunze.
I think it's Oduns.
Whatever, however you say his last name. That guy. And that
still love Cole.
Solid.
Still love Cole Kmet too. By the way,
Cole Kmet. Like, I don't know if it's just my fact that I live in Chicago and I'm buying into the hype. But I am high on them right now. Like I have them winning 10 games this season.
I am too, because ultimately, like the Bears and my 8 team are the teams that I think are barely missing the playoffs. I know I said the Bears are 7-10, but genuinely, like I think I'm having them lose a few 50-50s.
Yeah.
Like the Bears have a worse record than the Seahawks and the Saints for me, but I have them higher up here because I think I'm more confident in the Bears.
Yeah, I get it. Bears overall, are my 8 if it makes you feel any better. They're right there for me. The reason I have the Bucks at 9 is this is going to sound really bad. I think their team is solid. I think Baker Mayfield isn't going to do it again.
I think he is. I think that's the difference for me.
I think that's the differences between us. And I don't think so. And the only reason I don't think so is because this has happened before. We've seen this story. This is the same thing. He did it on where did he start? The Browns? Made the
Cleveland.
Playoffs, won a playoff game, then didn't do it again, which sucked. Then he got traded, which was very unfortunate, by the way. I definitely think the Browns hoed him. No questions asked.
Oh yeah, they got rid of him for Deshaun Watson, who's
not playing.
Not playing.
Then I mean, he didn't. I mean, to be fair, he was on the Panthers, which sucked a ton. But
That's not Baker's fault.
that's not on Baker. I'm not.
But
blaming
like
Baker.
he
Then he went to the
he had
Rams.
the,
And
he had those
did a
couple fun
good
games in
things.
LA
Yep,
and
then
earned a starting job in Tampa
did his
and
job
proved it
and
last
did
year.
great. He did a great job, I think, last year. Won a playoff
Mhm.
game. I don't think it's going to happen again, and that's my only thing. I think his receivers are getting up in age, which sucks. I love Mike Evans, and he doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon, but you never know. This could be the season like a Devontae Adams, where he's still good, but he's not what we've seen. So that could be rough. And that's all it is to me. And I like them. I don't love them. And I think that there's a team that's chilling right there in their division that is ready to go. To be fair, they lose the division by a game, and it's the difference between them making the playoffs or not is me.
Okay.
So if they go and win against the other team, then sure, right?
Yeah. Well, it's no secret because we've already talked about the Saints and the Panthers.
Yeah.
So and that they're not good. It's the Falcons. I agree. Falcons are tremendously improved.
Drastically.
I have both without spoiling too much, Bucks and Falcons both going 9-8.
I have
and the Bucks
going 9-8,
the Bucks
10-7 for
the Bucks steal the division on division record.
Yeah. They both have the same division record. It's just
because the Panthers steal one from the Falcons. That's the difference maker. So that's all it is. So I think I'm higher on the Bucks because I do believe in Baker.
I think he has the capability to do it. I saw it. I witnessed it. But they also still went like 8-9, 9-8 last season.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't think 9-8 cuts it this time. Personally.
I think 9-8 does.
Personally, I think the Falcons go 10. And mine, they go 10-7. 9-8. I still have them going 9-8. They don't cut it, and it just doesn't. They don't make the playoffs from it this time.
Yeah.
In my story.
Yeah. Okay, so that's your 9 is the Bucks?
Yes, and the 8 was the Bears. We already talked about them. I love them. I have them going 10-7, so.
Okay, so then Bears are your first team out, it seems like.
It hurts my soul.
Okay, my first team out is the Rams, and that's my 8.
Oh, that hurts.
It's unfortunate, and like it really did hurt as I was going through the math, but I'm like, because at the end of the day, the Bucks make the playoffs for me.
That's valid. That hurts.
I have, spoiler alert, 2 teams from the NFC South making the playoffs.
That's crazy.
Which it meant that the Rams barely miss it.
That's crazy.
And it's a handful of tiebreakers why the Rams miss the playoffs and the Falcons do for me. But at the end of the day, I think the Rams are still solid. They're going to miss Aaron Donald, of course. He's the best defensive player we've seen since J.J. Watt. You know?
Right.
So I think for that reason, the Rams take a bit of a step back. There is definitely an argument that the 49ers are the best team in the NFC. They were last year, after all.
Shoot, there's an argument that the best team in the NFL.
Exactly. You know, there's an argument there. And at the end of the day, like, that's the contender in the division. We've talked about how the Cardinals and Seahawks are not exactly pushovers.
Right. It's a tough division.
And I just have the Rams losing a few 50-50s. So Rams are my first team out at 8.
9-8?
9-8.
I have them winning 2 more of those 50-50s. So I actually have them in at 7.
Okay.
And they are my 7th team, believe it or not. And I have them going 11-6 this season.
Okay. I mean, completely reasonable. I don't think that's out of the question at all.
Dude, I don't know if people are going to figure it out, but Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp together feels disgusting.
So then it feels like we have the same playoff teams, except I have the Bucks, you have the Rams.
Correct. So we just flip those. So our top 6 is very... I think our top 4 should be the same. I think our top 5 teams should all be the same.
I think so too.
That not based off of standings.
Well,
divisions.
Right. Yeah. It kind of feels like we're about to say. I'm guessing you have Rams at 7.
Correct.
Okay, I have the Falcons at 7.
Okay.
I'm guessing your Falcons are 6.
Correct.
That's where my Bucks are 6.
All right, cool. And they're the 4 seed in my story because they're
the Bucks are my 4 seed.
Correct.
So
we're on the same page. Cool. So our top 5 teams we're very on page. Now where they land, I think is crazy. Is going to be crazy because I definitely think that I'm higher. On obviously bias, but I think I'm a little bit higher. But it's close. It's really really close.
So we have the same top 5. Yeah. Okay. Sure. So then
I think
from our 6 and
1 is going to be for certain. I think our 1 is the same.
I don't know. It might not be.
No clue.
It might not be.
No clue.
It might not be. Let me tell you that now. It might not be.
Okay, well then never mind. Our records are the same.
So
But
I think in our 6 and below, then the only team we haven't gotten to talk about is the Falcons.
yes, and I think that's it because the I mean,
Yeah.
again, I this team is fun.
Mhm.
This team
Yeah.
looks fun.
So
This team looks fun.
I agree. Like at the end of the day, our biggest complaint with the Falcons for the past forever has been that Arthur Smith doesn't know how to distribute the ball,
Correct.
and that they didn't have a guy to distribute the ball. You know, we were working with. I'm a Taylor Heineke stan.
We love
There are
Taylor
better
Heineke.
quarterbacks in the NFL than Taylor Heineke.
And Kirk Cousins is
And
one of them.
And they had Desmond Ritter last year too. Kirk Cousins is somebody I trust a lot more to handle these types of situations in Atlanta. Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier
Great.
is one of the best running back duos in the NFL, in my
No
opinion.
question. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I really like Drake London, and I think their other wide receivers are good. I like Darnell Mooney. I like Ray McLeod. Rondale Moore is on IR right now, but I think he's a great option when he comes back. We've been talking about
may get the ball.
Exactly. You know, when Kyle Pitts was drafted, 5 years ago now, something like that. There was an argument that he was the best player in the draft as a tight end.
Right.
And he just has not done it because of everything we've talked about.
Yep.
I love the Falcons O-line, and I think the Falcons defense is pretty solid. I like Matthew Judon. I like Grady Jarrett. I like AJ Terrell. They picked up my boy Justin Simmons.
Safeties are disgusting. They have Simmons and Bates.
Exactly. It's on paper. The Falcons are a contender.
Correct.
Why I have them at 7 and you have them at 6, I'm guessing, is because they are the Atlanta Falcons. Correct. And they'll find a way.
They will find a way. Even when
they'll find a way.
They contend themselves out of games.
So I would love to be wrong about the Falcons.
You and me both.
But
I think the meme, if they make the playoffs this year, the meme might die.
It might die.
It might be dead.
I agree. So yeah, I have the Falcons at 7 just because at the end of the day, I have the Bucks winning the division, which is why I have them at 6.
Right.
And I think that's really the only reason why.
Agreed. That's it.
So
it comes down to at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
All
right. Top 5 then. So no NFC South teams. Our top 5 in some order is
the Cowboys, Packers, Lions, Eagles, Niners.
In some order, yes. Yep. So that means 2 of our wildcard teams are there. So who is number 5 for you?
This was a really tough one. But I put the Cowboys here.
I also have the Cowboys at 5.
I think they took too long to play CD. I think they didn't do anything. They got Zeke.
They went all in. What are you talking about? They went all in.
That's it.
And brought in
and they lost Tony
the best running back duo in 2017.
Correct.
You know, that's what the Cowboys did.
They didn't do anything.
So what the Cowboys have is that the Cowboys had a really solid roster before.
Correct.
And they kept a lot of those things, like CD. Michael Gallup retired.
I didn't know that.
Which I think is kind of crazy. Yes, so he's out. But they still have Dak. And they still have a lot of those insane pieces on defense. Exactly.
Their defense is disgusting, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. I don't really see any reason why the Cowboys can't beat the Giants twice and the Commanders twice.
Agreed. And then win in Jerry
and split with the Eagles. Exactly. You know, and so it kind of feels like that's 5 free wins. I actually have the Cowboys going 4-2 in the division. I believe I had the Commanders stealing their home game from the Cowboys.
Yeah, I had them stealing a home game for a while, and then I just took it away because I had them going.
But I think the Cowboys are just not a team. Maybe it's because the Cowboys said they were going to do so much, and it feels like they didn't
do anything.
I had the Cowboys actually going 9-8.
Oh,
they're my 6th seed.
That's really low. I have them the 6th seed as well, but they're 11-6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
9-8 was pretty low, but I respect it.
Yeah,
I think there's a couple.
I think it's fair.
It's fair.
Like between the Cowboys, the Lions, the Packers, the Eagles, the Niners, the Cowboys are the worst team of those 5, and I think that's pretty objective.
No, yeah, I think that's just facts, and I think we both agree on that statement. And I think they have potential to win a lot of games when their defense just straight up wins them games. Like there was I don't know if it was last season or the season before last, but whatever season it was. Like they just had a situation where their defense would just straight get turnovers and score, and their offense would do jack, and they'd win the game.
Exactly.
And that's crazy. So I think their defense can literally just will themselves to victory sometimes. So as long as
Fair
Diggs
enough.
stays healthy this season, I think that's a big factor for them. I think he's a good corner, and they found a lot of gems there. I just
Yep.
hope it's okay.
Definitely.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So then who is your 4?
And this is the 5 seed for me.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's also my 5
So
seed.
it's your NFC North.
It's my
loser.
NFC wildcard team.
It's your NFC North loser.
Yes.
Second place team, not really loser.
Right.
This was tough because I felt like I want you to know the tiebreaker between the Packers and the Lions came down to conference wins.
Mm-hmm.
They split in mine. They both went 4-2. They both lost one game. I think they each lost a random game to the Bears or the.
Mm-hmm.
I think one stole a home game on the last game of the season because I was like, oh, they're probably gonna rest players because they've already locked it up and they lose the Vikings or some shit like that. So the Packers go 4 for me. And it was by a conference game, which is crazy. I think the Lions will repeat as division champions, and that's why. But it's really, really close. I think they came down to a couple of games that I think the Packers and Lions would split, and a big one that they both play is the Eagles. They both play the Eagles this season, and the Packers lose, where I have the Lions winning because the Lions get them at home.
I also have the Packers at 4.
It's tough.
They are my 5 seed.
It's so close.
My discrepancy is not that close with the Lions, though.
Oh,
I have the Packers going 10-7, and I think they are the best wildcard team.
I agree. My actual playoffs were way more competitive than yours. I think we're flipped on the AFC NFC.
I think so.
Yeah, because I have both the Lions and Packers going 12-5.
Yeah, I have 3, 9, and 8 teams making the playoffs in the NFC.
Yeah, I do not. You got to win 11 games to make it. Unless you're the Falcons.
That's kind of nuts.
Unless you're the Falcons, then you're good.
Yeah. So yeah, I have the Packers going 10-7. The Packers are solid, and I feel like they're really well rounded. It feels like their wide receiver core is well rounded, but not over the top.
I'm lying. The Eagles don't play the Lions. It was someone else. I realized what another tiebreaker comes into play, and they can't do it because they had no head-to-head matchup. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was someone else. I don't remember who.
Yes, I like Jordan Love. I like Jordan Love. I think he showed a lot of promise last year. The Packers seem to know what they're doing in the quarterback department, which I like. I trust Matt LaFleur.
Yep, they added Josh Jacobs.
They added Josh Jacobs. I like what they do on defense. Like the Packers, I feel like are just a solid, well-rounded team.
Agreed. I agree. I think they no notes. They got better.
Okay.
They got better. They improved on what they already were doing well, and that's good.
Yes.
So that's what I'm going to be curious about. Okay, so then top 3 is the same.
Yes, Lions, Niners, Eagles in some capacity.
This is where our discrepancy is going to happen because
I think so too.
At 3, I feel like I am going to go off of a limb here and say you have the Philadelphia Eagles while I have the Detroit Lions.
I have the Philadelphia Eagles.
I thought so. The Eagles were almost my 3. They were very, very close to being my 3.
I want you to know it came down to genuinely strength of schedule tiebreaker, why they're the 3 seed and not the 2.
Mine came down to division wins. The Eagles won 5 in the division, or the Lions won 4. So that's all. I think it was that, and then the Eagles got one more conference win over them. It's either that or the Cowboys record thingy, weird shit with the tiebreaker. I don't know. I put it in the schedule thing, and I was like, I don't know how to make the builder the thing, so I let it do it, and this is what it told me, so I live with it. So
okay.
So the Lions at 3 for me, Eagles at my Eagles were 2, believe it or not, but so they're right there. I mean, no notes. I really love the Lions. I love what they're doing, and I think their team is insane. I think they have one of the best running back duos in the league. Like Jahmyr Gibbs and Monty are crazy together. That's tough. I mean, it's tough. Jared Goff just needs to keep playing good football, and he's good. Like, this team is fun. This team is really fun, and they're really talented.
I agree. I believe in Dan Campbell. I like the way he coaches. I like his philosophy.
Yeah, agreed. And it fits with what it fits what the players want to do.
Yeah, the thing that would stop me from being high on the Lions is It feels like a lot of teams maybe have the Lions number this year. It's the Lions aren't the surprise team of the NFL anymore.
Right. Exactly.
Everybody knows that the Lions are good.
Yep. It's a big thing. It's a big
Yep.
thing because now they have a lot more tape on very similar players, a lot of different things. So yeah.
Yep.
So Eagles at 3 for you.
Yeah, I mean, Eagles lose Jason Kelce, and that is
Tough.
by far the most devastating loss any team suffered across the league.
Unfortunately, correct.
I don't think there's any arguing that.
No, they also lost Fletcher Cox on the opposite side of the football.
Exactly. Like, you lose two major pieces here. I had the Eagles going 11-6.
I'm going 12-5. It's fine. It's the same thing, honestly.
Yeah.
Results in pretty much the same situation.
Like, at the end of the day, the Eagles have an extraordinarily stacked roster.
Yep.
There's a reason why they're a top 3 team in the NFC. I genuinely think they have a top 3, maybe even top 2, potentially top 1 roster in the NFL.
I agree.
I really like Nick Sirianni. Everybody wants Nick Sirianni's head because of the way that last year ended.
Mm-hmm. I didn't.
Personally, I didn't. I still don't.
I wanted my biggest thing was
deal with your coordinators.
Yes.
Yeah, get your coordinators out.
What do we get? We got Moore, who's insane, offensive mind, and who's our new defense coordinator? I cannot remember.
Why do I feel like it was like a big name?
It was. It's Vic Fangio. That's why.
That's right. It was Vic Fangio.
Like, that's crazy.
That's former Denver Broncos head coach Vic Fangio, by the way.
Yes, it is. That's insane. That's a crazy turn of events. And I think the play calling, because people at the end of last season, the Eagles were like, oh, we have the Eagles number, and I'm like, yes, everyone absolutely does, because they are running the exact same 7 plays.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was this time where I sat there and I watched the game and like, watch, they're gonna run this, and they ran it. I'm like, dude, I'm not even a coordinator and I know what I'm doing. Like, this is absurd. Yeah. This should not be this easy to read. So with Kellen Moore, that adds a lot of depth, especially with the weapons that he has. I mean, if he can make Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and Justin Herbert do what they were doing, I have faith. So, yeah, I think they have the best. And you're talking about the roster. I think they have one of the best 1-2 receiving cores, like just 1-2 receivers in the league. I think Smitty could be a number 1 pretty much anywhere else, and it's crazy. There's a lot of teams he wouldn't be on that he'd be number 1, but that's a lot. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think the acquisition of Saquon Barkley is gigantic for the Eagles too.
Massive. I will say,
like, genuinely, Kelce hurts.
That's the big difference maker. But
it does. The brotherly shove doesn't work anymore.
I want to tell you that you're wrong, but I understand where you're coming from. So
I would love to be wrong.
Cam Jurgens is the new center. He played left guard last season. He was drafted, handpicked by Jason Kelce. He literally was the consultant for when they drafted him, because they're very similar. The body types, the athleticism, the movement, very similar styles of players. So if he has Jason Kelce in this year all season, which it seems like Jason Kelce's been hanging around the practice facility a lot, then I think
he's not doing ads for YouTube TV, but yes,
exactly. I think it's super, super helpful. Yeah, him and Kylie been killing those ads, by the way. So it's just, I feel like every other ad I've been seeing that motherfucker on my TV, bro. Like, I love him though. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see. And then they also still have Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata, and Lane Johnson on the offensive line. And those are like the only thing that we have, I would say, is rough is the right guard position. But then they picked up Mekhi Becton, and he's playing right guard. So it's like the O-line is still really stacked. It's just a matter of, what are we doing at center? And I understand. We just have to see Cam Jurgens play a bit more.
Right. I don't doubt Cam Jurgens' athleticism. I doubt his knowledge and his exactly. He's a really nice cheeseburger to Jason Kelce's filet mignon.
Correct.
I
agree.
I love a good cheeseburger.
But man, that filet mignon.
But man, it's just, I have the confidence that it's possible.
Yes.
Not the confidence that it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I feel like this is any time you lose a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, that's just how it is. That's just how it is. Especially at O-line. It's hard. It's almost impossible to replace that type of production.
I agree. Jason Kelce and Aaron Donald retiring this year are devastating for those two teams.
Correct. Yeah, it's first ballot Hall of Famers that you just can't replace. It's very hard, if at all you can. The biggest thing that the Eagles did this offseason was their defense. They were struggling at pretty much every position. Linebackers, corners, safeties. They needed help everywhere. The only thing that they weren't doing poorly was defensive line. And that's the crazy part. So, they added CJ Garner-Johnson came back, which he was very impact player. Drafted 2 corners. They get Isaiah Rodgers, who they traded for last season while he was doing his suspension. He was extending his year suspension from the Colts. We got him back this season. Big depth piece. While already having Darius Slay and Keely Ringo on the roster. I mean, it's solid. I'm really excited. Bradbury is hurt, so he's not playing. They re-signed Devontae Maddox on a team-friendly deal, which is cool because I think he's one of the best nickel corners in the game when he's healthy. When he's not, but it's very often that he is not healthy. That's what hurts. But that's why you have Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. So with Reed Blankenship and Sidney Brown there, I think the secondary finally is in a good position. Just need some age. I think they just need experience, and that's all it is. And that's why Slay's there. Other than that, I mean, I think the team got much better. Losing Kelsey and obviously losing Fletch you can't replace that type of production. Fletch maybe because you have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis.
It felt like the Eagles were prepared to lose both of them, though.
Correct.
You know,
they prepped.
Like I feel like they have a plan.
They had a plan, and that's what I love to see. So hopefully, we can capitalize on that this season, and I win the division like I think we can, because the NFC East curse is very real and very much a thing. It's just, it does come down to, after watching what happened at the end of last season, this feels like a see it to believe it situation. They've put all the pieces on paper to succeed, but last time I had all the pieces in place to succeed, we got Nnamdi Asomugha being trash. So been there. So hopefully this is not one of those cases, because I really love our roster. I really do.
Yeah, it's a solid roster.
Yep. Okay, so who do you have at 2?
Not the Lions.
I was guessing you have the Lions at 1. That was gonna be.
I do have the Lions at 1.
Yep. All right, and we talked very much about the Lions. So
we have. So let's talk about my 2. Your 1.
Yep.
The 49ers,
which is fine. I think that's very valid. I think the Lions have a really, really good roster, and I struggled actually going back and forth between where I wanted them. I knew I wanted the Eagles at, if I put the Lions at 1, the Eagles were going to be 3. That was basically my mindset. And it was really, really close for me. I think the Lions are awesome. The Niners, though, man, I think mentally it got really, really hard with Brandon Ayuk, and that's going to be really, really tough, because respect to Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk is their best wide receiver on the team.
Yep.
Because Deebo is, unfortunately, not as big of a wide receiver threat. He's more of a runner, and he's a playmaker threat. He does a lot of things very well. He can, don't get me wrong, he can catch the ball. He's one of the better receivers in a lot of rosters. Do not get me wrong on that. However, Brandon Ayuk is their best wide receiver on the team. And then when they add George Kittle and just the depth they have, it's crazy. Their team is so stacked.
Yep. CMC.
I didn't even mention fucking McCaffrey.
Exactly. You know, and their defense is insane still.
Yep.
It feels like their defense is fairly 1-to-1 from last year. It doesn't seem like they made any dramatic changes.
No, the biggest
still Javon Hargrave and Nick Bosa and Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner and Tre'Davious Ward. Like it's there.
They lost Chase Young, and that was like it.
And Chase Young didn't even feel like the biggest.
It wasn't really
difference maker in San Francisco.
Exactly, it wasn't a loss. So,
he
made plays for them, but it wasn't like, oh, we lost Chase Young. What do you do? The big thing that they'll have Greenlaw back. Unfortunate injuries happen, and then I'm just trying to figure out what's going on with their left tackle, Trent Williams, because he's having an issue with contract negotiations as well.
Yes, contract. Yeah, he's not showing up because of contracts.
Yeah, that could be something really big for him and the team. And I get it; he's aging, so who knows what's going to happen there. The biggest thing I've noticed is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think that on paper, Trent Williams is the best player on the San Francisco 49ers. Because if you look at certain things, when he is not playing, Brock Purdy sucks, respectfully. But when he is playing, Brock Purdy is the second coming of Jesus Christ. So,
Trent Williams is the best player on the 49ers. And you can't convince me otherwise. Yes.
I love to hear that. I'm glad we agree on that.
You could, like... Listen, okay, I played offensive line in high school, so I am biased. There's an argument for Trent Williams being the best player in the NFL. Just tossing it out there.
If Patrick Mahomes didn't exist, I'd tell you yes.
Yeah,
but I understand where you're coming from.
There's an argument.
There is an argument. I think he's like a top 3 player in the league.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
For sure.
No doubt in my mind.
No doubt in my mind. And
Yeah.
it's crazy
Hey,
when we value offensive linemen because last season I think Jason Kelsey was the best player on the Eagles, which is hard to say sometimes.
Did you see who Brock Purdy's backup is this year right now?
No.
It's former Denver Broncos quarterback Brandon Allen.
That's hilarious.
By the way.
That's hilarious. Told you, every other team we've mentioned has former insert Bronco position something here.
That's what we do, man. We're a factory of sadness, and then people go out and be successful elsewhere.
Yep. So yeah, I think that's okay. So you have the Lions, Niners, Eagles as your top three. I think that's
correct
fine.
in that order.
I have Niners.
You have
Eagles, Lions.
Niners, Eagles, Lions.
So
that's totally reasonable.
I think it's fine. Yeah,
I do feel like these are
2 games.
These are the best 3 teams in the NFC, and it's pretty close. I think those 3.
I agree. I think the Eagles could fall anywhere in that section. While I think I think the Niners are probably going to be 1 or 2. I don't think they fall to 3. It's going to be really tough because of their division. I think they're better than everybody in their division by like a little bit. The Rams are the closest to me, and I don't think it's that close because Aaron Donald's not there anymore.
I agree.
So then the Lions, I think it comes down to potential. I think they have the potential to be the 1 seed, but I also think that they could fall to anywhere between. They could fall to 3, and unluckily, they could fall to 5 if they.
They could fall to 5. Yeah, it feels like the Lions are a playoff team, but they genuinely could be. They could be a wild card team.
Yeah, correct.
I feel like the Niners are never a wild card team.
No, they're not going to be a wild card.
I feel like the Eagles are never a wild card team.
Well, I think the Eagles could be a wild card team. Unfortunately, it's always some BS with the Cowboys. Don't you cannot tell me otherwise. It's always some nonsense. The Eagles.
It would be some BS. It would be some BS, but yeah. BS aside, the Eagles should not be a wild card team.
Correct. I agree.
But the Lions could be.
All right. We've talked a lot about the NFC.
But that's not the Lions' fault.
Yeah. It isn't. No. So we've talked a lot about the NFC. I think the standings we're pretty similar, just not all heartedly on the same page.
Yeah. So then, do you want to break down the AFC or first, or do you want to break down the NFC playoffs?
Let's do the AFC and we'll do playoffs all together.
Okay, sounds good.
I think that's fair.
Okay.
So let's start.
Let's hop over to AFC 16-1.
I think this is gonna be crazy because
I think 16's easy. I think 16's easy. 15's easy. I don't know about 14.
I think our
could
bottom
be the
three
same.
is the same. I think our bottom 3 should be the same.
I think our bottom 2 is the same, and our bottom 3 is probably the same.
Okay, let's see.
So 16, I have the Patriots.
Okay, I have the Titans, but I
have
Patriots at 15, which I'm assuming that's where your Titans are.
I have the Titans at 15.
Cool. No questions. We know we've talked about them before. We think that they need help. I think the Patriots aren't starting their 3rd pick this season.
Nope.
I think that's weird.
I think it makes sense.
Jacoby Brissett is there. I think that
Drake May was kind of like one of those high ceiling project quarterbacks coming out. So I don't hate it.
And I don't know what the heck the Titans are going to do with Will Levis.
I feel like Will Levis, it's tough. And I feel like the team around them isn't supporting them as very much either.
Not at all.
Yeah, I really like Gerard Mayo, and I really hope he works out in New England.
Yeah, same. I love him for the team because they were doing good things when they had him.
They need a year. I think they need a draft.
Yep.
They need some time to cook.
Yeah, they need another season, and that's okay.
And it kind of feels like the Titans are in the same spot.
Correct. I agree. Okay. I think we're gonna get so funky with the AFC. I think that every team is like right there. And that's
I do too.
I think we're gonna be really weird with our rankings.
I think we agree on 14. Genuinely,
I think off of how you're sounding, I don't think so.
I think we agree on 14. I genuinely think my 8 through 13 can be pretty much exchanged.
I could argue that for my 8 to 14. I think anywhere between there is the same.
Okay, so who do you have at 14?
14.
Okay, I'll go first. Chargers.
Okay. I mean, yeah, sure. Valid. I have the Broncos.
Okay. Valid.
I feel so bad doing this every single time.
Listen, no. It's probably Broncos bias that I could not make them the worst team in the AFC West, but they might be.
The only reason I have them there is because it's a couple of things I trust a little more, like is Justin Herbert.
Yes.
Even with new receivers and new running back and new offense.
I trust Justin Herbert, and I love the Chargers O-line.
Correct. And that's where it's a slight difference maker for me.
But I don't feel like the Chargers have a lot of playmakers on defense.
True.
And the Chargers lost a lot of their offensive weapons.
They
I
lost
feel like
all
they
of
have
their offensive weapons.
the Chargers are a draft away. I genuinely
Yeah.
feel like it from being one of the better teams.
Yeah,
I think the Chiefs are far and away the best team in the West and
No
will be
questions
this
asked.
year. I think we're talking next year. The Chargers are going to be the team to upset that.
Yeah. And the reason I have the Broncos down here is just because I think they have pieces that are getting there. The problem is it's a rookie quarterback, and I think I'm giving I don't give Bo Nix the same credit I give Jaden Daniels. I think, but I think Jaden Daniels has better supporting around him, so it's a little bit different. Like
I agree.
I think there are good players on the Broncos.
I do too.
I think they have potential to be good. They always piss me off.
Oh, they piss you off.
Yes. So
I'm the one in the fancy new Pat Surtain jersey. They piss me off all the goddamn time.
Yeah. So that's it for me. So that's why I have them at 14. So I understand where you're coming from on the Chargers. It makes total sense. I think they can very much fall these last couple games and be there. But this is where I have the Broncos.
Yep. Okay, who's your 13? Because mine's the Broncos.
This is gonna sound so bad because I feel like this is maybe a playoff team for you. And I don't like them, and I don't know what it is yet. I have the Jacksonville Jaguars here.
They are not a playoff team.
Thank you, God, because I don't.
They're
like
in
them.
I will say they're somewhere in my 8 to 13 range. Not quite 13, but they're in that range that they could be anywhere.
They, to me, just
the Jaguars.
I don't know what it is.
Could be the first team out.
Dude, I don't know what it is about them. I don't like them.
I feel like they're worse than they were last year.
I cannot put my finger on why I hate them yet. Because didn't they add another receiver?
They lost Calvin Ridley.
And no one cares. They added another receiver because it was him and Christian Kirk. I want you to know I have no reason to hate the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just don't like them.
Gabe Davis.
Yeah, like that was your big move this season.
They got Devin Duvernay too. I didn't know he was on the Jaguars.
Yeah, like they have solid pieces. It's just like, bro, Their line is good, but that's Ronald Darby is one of your starting cornerbacks. I've been down that road. You don't like that road.
I've been there myself. Shout out to, I didn't know Devin Lloyd was on the Jaguars either.
Darnell Savage too. Like their team is solid. It's just like, bro, like
there's a tickle back there. I agree. It's like something's
weird.
off. Something's off with the Jaguars, and I agree. Like last year, the Jaguars were my 1 seed last year.
Right. They didn't make the playoffs.
Because they didn't make the playoffs last year. Because to be fair, I didn't think we thought the Texans were going to make as big of a leap.
Also agreed.
And I thought
to be the GOAT for some reason.
And I thought the Jaguars were objectively better than the Colts and objectively better than the Titans.
I think we both agreed with that statement. No questions asked.
So now that the Texans are better, it kind of feels it could be a little bit of that the Texans are a lot better. That it makes Jacksonville feel weird. Exactly. That's kind of how I feel. It's like, turns out maybe the Colts are better because we saw what they did with Gardner Minshew. And if Anthony Richardson is the prospect if Anthony Richardson is the prospect that the Colts think that he is, they are better than the Jaguars.
Agreed. And oh man, T-Law, bro, I'm so sorry. Like you're good, but you have not been at all living up to the hype that you got at all. Nowhere close, in my opinion.
No, he was supposed to be the next coming of Andrew Luck.
Which is crazy.
And it's not been that. He's good.
Yep.
You know.
He's good. He can be a franchise quarterback.
I think he is a franchise. I think he is a franchise quarterback in Jacksonville, but I think the QB situation in the AFC is insane. Like T-Law would be, I think, without like going through the exact list, T-Law probably could be a top 5 QB if the Jags were in the NFC.
Yes.
But the AFC, he's competing with Mahomes and Allen and Burrow, etc., and Lamar, etc., etc. You know, it kind of feels like T-Law is maybe more like 8th to 9th.
I looked at my 7 playoff teams, and I'm like, bro, he's not better than any one of those quarterbacks.
No, he's not.
And dude, he even comes close with like Richardson.
He might be the best quarterback in my 8 to 13 range.
Maybe.
You know, so that puts him as the 8th best quarterback in the AFC.
Yeah, that's tough. And I definitely
Which is not good enough.
I would take him over probably like
I take him over any of the Broncos quarterbacks, over any of the Steelers quarterbacks,
I was thinking
over
about
any of the
fifth.
Raiders
I was thinking
quarterbacks.
about NFC. I would say he's probably fifth.
Oh, in NFC?
Yeah, maybe fifth or sixth, maybe. Actually,
I
no,
trust.
he actually goes lower than that to me. Maybe seventh.
Who's better?
I think our opinions are very different. I think he's better than. I think Brock Purdy is playing better, but if T-Law was in that freaking system, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I prefer Jalen Hurts. I think Jared Goff is playing better.
We're considering the situation that the Jaguars are an NFC team, but we keep the Jaguars as is. It's just that they play in the NFC.
I would take the Niners. I would take Purdy. I would take. I do not like to talk about Purdy like that anymore, but I got to give him his props eventually. Purdy. I would take Hurts. I would take Goff right now. I would take Love. I would. Oh, God, fuck me. I would take Dak. I would take. I would take maybe Stafford. Like.
I think I would take Hurts and Purdy and Love. And T-Law could be 4.
It could. I think it can be high
because
as high as 4, but I think I would take
4 to 7. 4 to 7 is Goff, T-Law, Dak, and Cousins, I think.
Oh, I forgot about Cousins. What about Stafford?
And Stafford, okay, 4 to 8 is those and Stafford.
That's crazy.
The order is a little bit questionable.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
T-Law should have done way better, but he just has not. Anyway, that's why I'm at 13. Anyway, moving right along.
Yeah, so, okay. I have the Broncos at 13.
We talked about that. Yep.
So let's go to 12.
This is where I have the Chargers.
This is where I have the Steelers.
Okay. That's fine.
And it really hurt to make the Steelers go 8 and 9.
Same.
It really did.
It really did, because I know better.
Worth noting, my entire 8 through 13 is 8 and 9.
Same.
Broncos are 8 and 9. Jaguars are 8 and 9.
My 8
Steelers are 8 and 9.
My 8 through 12 is 8 through 9. 8 and 9.
Yeah, so Steelers. Because at the end of the day,
I just don't know.
It feels like their offense is not good. It feels like their offense is not good, and it feels like their defense is great. And I trust Mike Tomlin.
Yeah,
their OC is Arthur Smith.
Their defense is
their OC is Arthur Smith, who we all have his opinions on them, but as an OC,
he's not bad.
The last time he was an OC was when he was with the Titans, and that's when the Titans were like a 1 seed team.
They were good. That's why he got.
They were really good. Exactly. Like as a head coach, Arthur Smith was disappointing, but as a coordinator, Arthur Smith was great.
Yeah.
So
the problem I have with is their quarterback situation is messy, and then their best receiver is George Pickens, who can be good, but also has.
I think can be good.
Their defense is out of this world goated. Like Minka,
could
TJ,
be
like come on,
top 5 defense in the league. Easy.
That's like it. Like their
exactly.
defense may just win all 8 games because it.
Yeah. Their offense is lacking.
Yeah.
But their defense and their coaching, I think, is what keeps the Steelers floating.
Agreed. And it's just.
And it feels like every year we talk about how the Steelers are taking a step back. And weren't the Steelers the 7th seed last year?
Yeah, they made the playoffs.
They made the playoffs the year before, we said, too. It felt like the Steelers were going to be ass all year. We kept saying it. So, like, at the end of the day, I can't call them ass, but I can't call them good.
Correct.
I think they're decent.
Right.
I think the Steelers win some games. I think the Steelers' role this year is to be the decider in who wins the North. It's not the Steelers that win the North, but I think the Steelers play upset to the Bengals, Browns, and Ravens.
I agree. That's exactly what dictates my North winner.
Who wins the North is who can beat the Steelers consistently. Correct.
Yep. Yeah.
So Steelers have an interesting role this year because I don't think they're a playoff team.
Yeah. But they can play a big role.
Mm-hmm.
And they could still go 9-8. So.
Yeah. So these are So I guess 13 Broncos, 12 Steelers, and my 11 team are my 8 and 9 teams who I don't think can make the playoffs.
Okay. So.
But my 10, 9, and 8 are my 8 and 9 teams who I think could.
Okay.
So Steelers I have a 12.
13 Jags. I had 12 as Chargers. We already talked about them.
Okay.
So we can move on to 11, who I have the Steelers at.
I have the Raiders at 11.
Okay. That's fine.
And it does hurt that the Raiders are better than the Broncos, but they are.
I agree.
I like their coaching better. I like their team overall better.
I'll tell
I
you,
know Gardner
a lot of my
Minshew.
stuff came down to
Gardner
Raiders.
Minshew is not a long-term answer,
No, he's a band.
but Gardner Minshew, I think, is a team that keeps the Raiders competitive.
Correct.
The Raiders, I feel like, are better than the Broncos and better than the Chargers, but are never ever better than the Chiefs.
Can we also dictate that the Gardner Minshew is basically the new age Ryan Fitzpatrick? That's how it feels.
Maybe.
He's getting there.
Kind of feels like Jacoby Brissett
a
little bit in some capacity, you know?
It's valid.
But I see your point.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think the Raiders can do good things. It's just like...
Where was Gardner Minshew at before Indy? He was in Philly, right?
Correct.
And he didn't make any stops from Jacksonville to Philly?
He was somewhere else, right?
I feel like it was Jacksonville to Philly to Indy to Vegas.
Let's find out.
Or maybe he was like a backup for somebody that the Colts traded for.
Nope, he went Jacksonville to Philly. He was with Philly for 2 seasons. Really? 2 seasons?
Yeah. Oh, and then Flacco's in Indy now. That's who I might be thinking of.
Yeah, Philly, Indy, and then now Vegas.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like the Raiders have a pretty good roster, and I really like their coaching staff too. Like Antonio Pierce
know
is
what Devontae Adams is going to be like. That's it.
Yeah, and Antonio Pierce is he's like a hard-nosed dude. Like that dude understands Raiders culture.
Yep.
Like, listen, I hate the Raiders. It's in my blood to hate the Raiders. But last year when they hired Antonio Pierce, to be fair, I think it was biased because they got rid of Josh McDaniels to do this, which was awesome because fuck Josh McDaniels. But like that was the most excited I've ever been from a neutral perspective about the Raiders is when Antonio Pierce came in because he understands Raider culture. He understands what that team is about.
Yeah, I agree. And it's
and I think that's exciting for the NFL.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So I think the Raiders are the best team among the teams that I think have no shot to make the playoffs.
All right. Okay. And we already talked about my 11 because mine was the Steelers.
Yeah, 11 your Chargers.
No, 11 was Steelers.
Oh, Steelers. Yeah. Okay. 10 is my Jaguars.
This is where the Browns are for me.
Okay. So let's talk Browns.
I can't trust them if Deshaun Watson doesn't play football.
I can't really trust him if Deshaun Watson does.
Also understand.
You know?
Because
it's like Deshaun Watson's just such a question mark for me.
I'm like, man, this player's really good at football. Is exactly Myles Garrett.
See, I disagree. Because I really like Amari Cooper.
Oh, I forgot.
I really like
Jerry Judy's there now too, which is cool. But like, what's Deshaun Watson?
First of all, fuck Jerry Judy. But that's former Denver Broncos wide receiver Jerry Judy. If Nick Chubb does come back this year,
that's the tough one too. That's the question.
That's a tough one too. But I like the wide receiver core. Like Amari Cooper, Jerry Judy, Elijah Moore is solid. David Njoku has been and always has been good. Their O-line is still top 3 in the NFL.
Okay. Well, all right. Well.
And I like their defense a lot.
I'll eat my words here. You're right.
You know, it kind of it feels like the Browns are a quarterback away, which is weird because
they have Deshaun Watson.
You know, 5 years ago was the best player on the Texans. Now he's the worst player on the Browns.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
But here's the thing: is the Browns brought in famous Jameis.
Oh wait, they're fine. And
I think that's what makes them fine for me. So without spoiling too much, I am much higher on the Browns. I don't have them at 10, believe it or not.
I do. But like again, 8 through 12 is all 8 and 9 for me. So it's like that's a game. That's a game out of playoffs for me.
Yeah, So I like the Browns. Like Kevin Stefanski wasn't he coach of the year last year?
Did he win coach of the year last year? Where?
He was. I remember he did his first year.
I thought it was didn't Dan Campbell win last year?
No, it was Kevin Stefanski. He beat John Harbaugh, D'Amico Ryans, Dan Campbell, and Kyle Shanahan.
Dan Campbell got hoed,
Probably.
but they did go 11-6 last year. I guess that's valid. Maybe I could be higher on them. Dang, he's won twice with the Browns. He won 2020 and 2023. It's kind of crazy, actually.
Because that was 2020 was when his first year with the Browns, and then they went to the AFC Championship with Baker.
Yeah, well, that's valid. All right. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the teams at the top are better. It's tough. Like I said, there's a lot of really good teams here. I could also see, like, I kind of just organize this by records. I think the Browns could be as high as 7 for me. I don't think they go above that, though. My opinion.
That's reasonable.
But yeah, this is where I have them at. Who was your 10? I'm sorry. This is where you had the
Jaguars.
Giants. Okay, we've talked about them. So 9.
Yep. Colts. Interesting.
Wow.
Weird how that worked out.
Ah, how did you look at that? Who would have thought? Not me.
Who would have thought? Yeah. So then, wait, are you Raiders 8?
Unfortunately.
Okay, my Browns are 8.
Okay, well, yeah, nice.
So,
Look at us.
so then we have the same playoff teams.
That's crazy.
Weird how that works out all the time. Okay, let's talk Colts then, because we kind of already did a bit.
We did a lot, and I really like this team.
The Colts were extraordinarily impressive last year without Anthony Richardson. With Anthony Richardson, it feels like they're the same, if not better.
Yeah, this just feels like a case of, how is Anthony Richardson going to play? Is he healthy? Is he going to make better choices than he did in the first couple games last season? That's all it is. I think he sets. If he does it, then they're going to be good. I think they can make the playoffs for sure. Because weren't the Colts like a game out of playoffs last season?
I think so. I think it was that fumble or whatever, that like biffed pass that kept them out of the playoffs.
Yeah,
it was a biff pass.
Yeah. So.
And the Colts were better than the Steelers last year. Sorry, Colts should have been in the playoffs.
Agreed.
Colts should have had the right to go get their shit rocked by the Bills, I think it was.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the Colts. I think they can make the playoffs. It just comes down to, will they make the playoffs? That's it. And then the Raiders we've already talked about. And then
okay. So then our playoff teams are Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Ravens, Bengals, Texans, Chiefs.
Correct.
Okay. So then we just got to figure out that order here.
Yep. I feel like we're gonna have a very different order.
I kind of do too. So Browns. You can tell I'm high on the Browns. They're my first team out, genuinely. What ultimately comes down to is the fact that I think the Steelers are upsetting the Browns. I feel like the Steelers match up well with the Browns. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Okay, who's your 7?
Buffalo. I think they got worse this offseason.
I agree.
And they fell tremendously, and their division is tough with the fact that they got worse, and the Dolphins didn't really lose anybody, and the Jets look like they got better, and hopefully A-Rod can stay healthy. That team's menacing. So they got worse. They go 3-3 in the division for me, 6-6 in the conference, and they go 9-8 and squeak into the 7th seed. But Josh Allen wills them to the fucking playoffs. So
yeah,
that's how I imagine. That's how I broke it down.
I will say, like, on paper, the Bills are worse. And I went through and redid my schedule and like looked at the Bills games in particular, and so was like, are the Bills winning too many games for me? Can I flip any of these? And I ultimately decided no. I do not have the Bills at 7.
Oh.
I will tell you, I have the Bills actually winning the division off of tiebreakers.
Oh.
But I don't think they're a top 4 team.
They finished.
I do think
third for me.
I think the wild card. I think there are wild card teams that are better than the Bills. But I think just the way the schedule shook out, and I went through and I really tried to flip some games, and the Bills just ended up winning the division off of some tiebreakers.
That's fine.
So they're the 4 seed, but they're not my top 4 team.
Okay.
My 7 team is the Bengals.
Interesting. Okay.
Because I feel like we're relying on Joe Burrow to be healthy.
That's valid. I thought about that too, and I keep being high on them because I think that team is disgustingly amazing.
And we keep talking about, like, that team runs through Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like they made a ton of steps to improve their O-line, which was kind of the big thing that the Bengals needed to do.
It's valid.
You know, they have Orlando Brown and Trent Brown, but it kind of feels like their interior O line is, and I think the other thing that they're going to miss is God, why can't I think of his name? Who played running back for the Bengals and he's now on the Texans?
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon. I kept wanting to call him Joe Milton. It's Zach Moss.
That's not bad.
That's a downgrade objectively, though.
I honestly think that is the same player on the Bengals, if you want me to be honest with you.
I don't.
Zach Moss is just a little bit more speedy. Mixon's a little bit more bulky.
Yeah. Like, I like the Bengals, and I think the Bengals have a chance of making some waves in the playoffs. But of my top 7 teams, I think them and 6 are the ones I'm least confident on. And genuinely, I want you to know, I flipped the coin. The Bengals lost that coin toss, and that's why hilarious. I put them at 7 and not 6.
Let me correct my statement on that running back. I think Zach Moss fits the Bengals offense better in a passing situation because Joe Mixon is I think he's a better runner than he is a pass catcher at the running back, whereas Zach Moss is the opposite.
That's
personally.
I don't know if the Bengals are better as a passing team though, given that their O-line is worse.
Well, when you have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, I feel like that's the case.
Yeah, like on paper the Bengals are good, but I just have a handful of question marks about the Bengals that I want answered before I commit to the
understandable.
Bengals are are listen, I think the Bengals are a playoff contender for sure. I do have them making the playoffs at 10 and 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about their chances of like making a conference championship though, Yeah. Yeah. So I ultimately have them at 7.
Okay.
So your 7 was the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of talked about the Bills, I guess. That team goes through Josh Allen.
Yeah, that team is needs to be backpacked, I think, by Josh Allen.
Who's 6?
Miami.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
No, trust me. You said Bengals at 7, and we've been.
This is going to be a very different AFC
very
list.
Very drastic difference.
Okay, so
our top 3 are not going to be the same top 3.
Probably not. Let's talk.
I know now.
Let's talk Dolphins.
It's the same situation I always feel like I end up getting in the set with the Dolphins. I think their team is phenomenal. They think they're going to make the playoffs and then randomly fall off a cliff like they always do. It's been the same. It's been the same story for like multiple seasons in a row, and they make the playoffs at like 11 and 6. Great, good job. Then they get to the 6th seed because they fumble something at the end of the season instead of winning the division. So,
yep. I don't entirely disagree with that. I have the Dolphins as my 6th seed.
Yeah, they're the 6th seed for me. But yeah, I get it that you don't think they're better. I think the 5 teams above them are better, in my opinion.
Dolphins are my 5 seed, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, I still think the 5 teams above them are better. Just my opinion, though.
Yeah. I do like the extended. I was going to call him Josh McDaniels. No, Mike McDaniel. Yes. One McDaniel, not plural.
McDaniel, not multiple McDaniels. What's up with us
and like
McDaniels and McDaniels?
Listen, the Dolphins have been, in a top 10 offense every year since he got there. Correct. Like a top 3 offense, I think, actually.
Phenomenal. And then him, Tyreek Hill, they're great.
And I love the Dolphins defense.
Yep.
I think losing Vic Fangio sucks.
It does.
But I trust the Dolphins. And
their talent is there.
Exactly. Like what I think Mike McDaniel needs, and I think the next step for the Dolphins, and I feel like is happening because it's been slowly progressing, is actually getting a playoff win. So,
and I think that comes down to Tua at the end of the day.
Yep.
And I think he is, when he is healthy and when he's playing, he can be on the money, but it's always that crunch time situations that he fumbles in, and it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Okay. So you have Dolphins at 6.
What's your 6 then?
The team that won the coin toss against the Bengals.
And that
which is the Jets.
Okay. I think we have the Dolphins and Jets maybe flipped.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
If Aaron Rodgers is healthy and plays well, the Giants should, or not the Giants, the Jets should be a playoff team. They were supposed to last year.
Yep.
It feels like the Jets are a bit dramatic, though, for me to be confident in them really doing anything in the playoffs.
Okay. Because
there's a lot of stories coming out with Aaron Rodgers being kind of an asshole. Weird. I didn't see that one coming.
No way.
But like, what's the other one? Hassan Reddick, I think.
Oh, that
he went to the Jets this year, didn't he?
Yeah.
And that's
he
that's
a trade because they won't give him a deal.
Yeah, it feels like the Jets are just a little bit confusing to me. But on paper, the Jets should be good.
Yep.
There was a couple acquisitions that they made that I really liked.
Yeah, I mean, they got Reddick, which I loved. It sucked. Mike Williams is huge.
Mike Williams is the big one that I was thinking. Yeah.
Huge. And I think they did a really good job improving one random good position, and it's their backup quarterback. They got Tyrod Taylor.
Excellent choice.
Phenomenal choice for them.
Love that.
If Ryan Rodgers goes down, I think Tyrod can come in and actually win you games.
That would be a fun podcast segment. Is we should do a hierarchy of backup quarterbacks.
All the backup quarterbacks in the league and rank them.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
Like rank them. Like if for some reason there were 32 people that ruptured their Achilles every on the same day,
quarterback has been incapacitated.
What's the situation like for all those teams? That'd be a fun segment. We should rank the backup quarterbacks in the NFL.
Whoever is the Niners quarterback is fine. We've learned.
But we're not going to consider the circumstances, right?
Just them as a player.
Like Tyrod Taylor is better than Brandon Allen.
Agreed.
But Brandon Allen is going to be more successful than Tyrod Taylor.
Okay, valid argument.
You know, so I think that'd be a fun segment. 32 teams. Let's rank the backup quarterbacks.
Okay. I think that'd be interesting. The Jets. I really like Breece Hall. I like Garrett Wilson. I like Mike Williams. I still like that they have Alan Lazard, which is wild. They have a solid O-line. I think their defense can be really, really good. Quinnen Williams and Jermaine Johnson. If Hassan Reddick decides to play, that line is crazy. I think
Javon Kinlaw too. I think is great.
CJ Mosley is solid at the linebacker position. I mean, of course, you got to go with one of the best cornerbacks in the game, Sauce. And then you have DJ Reed on the other side, who's solid. And I like the team. It's just it really comes down to, again, our biggest question mark is always Aaron Rodgers.
If he's healthy, the Jets should be a playoff team.
But as a person, having a year off helps you a ton. So I think it'll be helpful.
If Aaron Rodgers goes out, Jets are out, Browns are in. I genuinely think it makes that much of a difference for me.
Yeah, I get you.
So I have Jets at 6. You had Dolphins at 6. Bills are my 5.
Okay. I think I regret.
So who's your 5?
I think I regret something here because I think I shouldn't base this off of a record. Because I don't think the 5.
I did not base this off a record.
I think the 5 team isn't better than the 3 team or the 4 team for that. I think the 5. Let me switch something really quick. Let me make some executive decisions here. Hold on. Let me make some executive decisions. Yeah, I think I flipped those 2. I think this is where I have the Jets. Yeah, this is where I have the Jets.
Is that 5?
They're the division winner for me though. And they're actually the 3 seed, but I think they're worse than the 4 seed, if that makes sense. I don't know how that makes
I think this could shake out where we have the same top 3.
I don't. I know we don't. I know we don't.
Maybe not in order, but I think we have the same teams.
No, we don't. I know we don't.
Oh, we objectively don't. Okay. So that means your Bengals are a top 3 team.
Correct.
Okay, interesting. So then I'm curious who you kicked out of the top 3 from my top 3.
The answer may surprise you.
Okay, so then who's 4? Because I think we've talked about everybody, right?
Did we
With
talk
Jets,
about
Bills, and
yes, we did talk about because who do you have at 5?
We talked
had the Bills. Yep.
Bills at 5.
We have the same top 4.
No, we don't, because I have the Dolphins at 4.
Right. Well, yeah, that's right. No, we don't have the same. The Bengals were already talked about. We don't have the same top 4. You're right.
You're about to do it
criminal.
to me?
I feel like this is criminal. This feels so criminal, but it's like...
Listen, because if I'm looking at my top 3, I'm like, genuinely, I don't think any of these teams are not the top 3 teams in the AFC.
I think this is criminal. But I feel like it's right. Because they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything this offseason. They didn't get better. They arguably got worse. But okay, I'm just going to pull the trigger. I have the Chiefs here, and it's only because of the fact that I do not think they have a better roster. Their team, outside of Mahomes and Kelsey, to me, did not improve. But it's like, it's Mahomes. So I understand what we're doing here. They didn't do anything. So I'm just... That's my trigger. I'm saying it.
I don't think they needed to.
I understand.
At the end of the day, you know.
They're my 4th seed, by the way. I want you to know that.
That's very interesting.
By a game. They're my 4th seed by a game. They could have easily been the 2 seed if one game flipped.
Okay. You know what? No, listen. I disagree with you,
That's fine.
but I understand why we do.
It's just, oh
And
man.
I understand your perspective. I don't think the Chiefs are 4 though.
Also, and another bigger reason is their schedule is not easy. So
No, it is not.
Them
They
going
have a very
11
tough
and 6
schedule.
for me is them
Like-
having a tough schedule, and that's why.
A lot of those 50-50s are ones that I gave to the Chiefs. By the way, Bengals 10-7, Jets 10-7, Bills and Dolphins both 11-6. The Bills get the tiebreaker.
Bills
for
are
me.
9-8. Dolphins are 11-6. My Jets are 12-5. My Jets win the division.
Okay.
Jets are the 3 seed. I just have them as the 5 there. I think the rest of the rosters are better.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like I literally have my AFC East 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, so
You know, it's like because they're too close.
mine are 5, 6, 7, which is funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it feels criminal, and I understand, but I can't.
I agree. I'm trying to. I understand your point because I'm trying to think of like, all right, let's talk about the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the same Chiefs they were last year. They drafted Xavier Worthy, which I think is stupid that they got the fastest player in the NFL.
But isn't he not playing?
Is he not?
Isn't there an issue with him? Am I tripping?
I thought there was an issue with like Sky Moore. There's nothing on. There's an issue with Marquise Brown.
Oh, maybe there's an issue. Oh, maybe it's the other receivers. Yeah, no, Xavier Worthy's crazy, by the way. What a pick for them, by the way.
He's the 3 right now. He's starting over Justin Watson, over Juju, over Sky Moore.
Juju's on the team?
They signed Juju last week.
Juju Smith-Schuster?
Juju Smith-Schuster, yes.
He's back?
He's back.
Man.
They extended Creed Humphrey this year.
Fine.
And like I don't think their defense changed too dramatically though.
I know.
You know?
It feels like I feel like they were supposed to get someone. They should have gotten like a better receiver or something, and they didn't. But like their team is good. It's great even. I don't. It is so hard to three-peat. It's so hard to repeat in the NFL. Three-peating is unfreaking heard of. I think that the teams around them got better and they didn't improve drastically. Not, at all. I think they're the same team.
Whoa.
Right? Which is good.
When did that happen?
Which is?
Did you know the Chiefs signed Matt Ariza?
Yeah, the punter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that.
I remember hearing that Matt Ariza was found innocent.
Yeah, and then they signed him because they didn't.
And I didn't remember them signing him.
Yeah, they signed it. They re-signed Harrison Butker and have the most controversial kicking room in the NFL.
Shout out to the Chiefs for doing that one.
Just saying. Also, with a name like the Kansas City Chiefs, it's kind of wild. I just no.
Yeah, that's
out of me. That had no
choice.
impact on my fourth ranking, by the way. It just was funny that they.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's
All they had to do was re-sign Kareem Hunt, and it's like.
And it's like, man, all criminal team.
Seriously.
Legends.
Honestly. And then.
Yeah, like listen, I understand, but it does feel criminal to not say the Chiefs are a top 3 team in the
I
NFL.
don't think that's criminal either. I to me, I think the teams around them got better, and they did. So it's like by law, they have to drop because the other teams rose. That's just me. That's how I felt, and I understand where you're coming from. Like they could easily. I think they still can be the best team in the NFL because they have Patrick.
Easily. Easily.
Just how that shit works. Like between my 4 seed and my 1 seed, it's 2 games. That's it. Chiefs have 11-6, and they very easily. Just so we're aware, very easily the Chiefs could be the 1 seed by flipping 2 games. Not even question mark. And it's 2 of the teams that are in my top 3. I'm pretty sure they play, and if they beat them instead of losing to them in mine, it's fine.
Okay.
That's what you know.
So Dolphins 4, Chiefs 4 for you. So then your top 3, we both have Ravens, Texans in the top 3.
Correct.
But you have the Bengals and I have the Chiefs.
Correct.
Okay. Who's 3?
The Bengals.
Okay.
So this is weird. I think the Ravens are a better team. I have the Bengals winning the division, though.
I did the same. I did that with the East, dude. It is what it is.
So, and it's only because of schedules. It's like they beat the Bengals because of where they finished last year. There's one game that they lose or that they win, and the Ravens lose, which causes them to lose the division. So the Bengals win the division, but I think the Ravens are a better team. I just want to say that.
Okay. Totally fair.
Okay.
Cool. So what's your Bengals record then?
12-5.
Okay.
And I like the Bengals. I think, again, if Joe Burrow's healthy, I think they're fine.
Mhm.
But again, I understand the only concern I have with them is exactly what you said, and that's their O-line concerns. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's literally it. I have no other concerns with them. I think the rest of their team is
Okay.
really good.
Yeah. So my top three, at the end of the day, I think the NFC, I think it was a little bit bold to make Lions number one.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I think we both understand why I did it.
Yes.
But like, so at the end of the day, I played it a little bit safe in the AFC.
I went more.
And I didn't have too many hot takes in the AFC. So I have 3 Texans.
That makes sense. Yep.
At 12-5.
Makes sense. Makes total
Which
sense.
I think is totally reasonable.
Very reasonable. Completely
reasonable. On paper, the Texans very well could be the best team in the NFL. Or in the AFC at least.
Correct.
Apologies.
I agree.
Very well could be.
I agree. They added Stephon Diggs. Like
that's huge. They added Stephon Diggs. Joe Mixon, I think, is gigantic.
Insane.
They re-signed a lot of their good pieces. I think they lost Noah Brown at the cost of Stephon Diggs. Dub.
It's fine. They still have Nico Collins and
Nico Collins and Tank Dell.
Like, come on. And CJ Stroud can improve on a rookie campaign.
Yeah.
I think he's my early candidate for that MVP. As we talk about second-year guys that win MVP, he's my early candidate and my early lead, I think.
I don't see any reason why I would disagree with you. If we're looking at second-year guys that win MVP,
I think
it's CJ Stroud.
He's the best. The only person I can see that would be crazy to take a leap is Bryce Young, but he's on Carolina, so that sucks.
Yeah, the Panthers are not equipped to support Bryce Young.
Exactly. But CJ Stroud. Be ready.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're looking at all of our usual suspects for MVPs, your Mahomes, your Allens, etc. But like, I think CJ Stroud is genuinely a contender. I agree.
Yeah, I think like your top 5 are probably CMC, Stroud, Lamar,
Allen, and Mahomes.
Allen's a question mark. I think Hurts is in that mix call too, just because of the roster.
See, Hurts is I think is just outside of the top 5 for me.
I agree. I think he's 5 or 6 for me.
Yeah.
If you want me to be honest with you. I definitely see the other guys as really, really good. I also can see Jordan Love in that mix too.
Maybe that's not a bad call either. Yeah.
So that's just me though. Because like we quickly forget Hurts was like 2.
He was 2 years ago a contender for sure. Should have won.
He was 2. He got hurt.
Yeah, just
he missed 2
like what? Because the Eagles had an ass last 4 weeks of the NFL does not mean that the Eagles are a dog shit team. It does, and that's not how that works.
He also missed 2 games, which sucked.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
So
so
that's why he didn't win MVP. Was he missed 2 games, and Mahomes didn't miss 2 games. That's all it came down.
Yeah.
To.
So yeah. Whatever. Texans at 3 for me. I feel like that's safe. If I wanted to be bold, I really could see Texans being 1.
I think you were bold in the NFC saying Lions are 1, and I think
exactly. Okay. So yeah, Texans are my 3 seed at 12-5, just because they are a game out from both the Chiefs and the Ravens, who will go 13-4.
Cool.
And to be a little bit of a foreshadowing, the difference between 1 and 2, because both these teams are 13-4, is the head-to-head that happens in 4 days.
Week 1.
It's the difference maker between 1 and 2.
That's actually crazy that actually could be a real thing. Like, that's the biggest indicator, and it sucks because it's the first game of the season.
Yes.
That's not an indicator of anything, in my opinion.
So then who's your 2?
My 2? Did we talk about my 3? Yeah, my 3 was the Bengals.
Because your 3 is the Bengals.
You were bold in the NFC. I was bold in the AFC. My 2 is the Baltimore Ravens.
Interesting. Okay. My 2 is also the Baltimore Ravens.
My Baltimore Ravens unfortunately get the 5 seed because the
Bengals win.
And the Bengals win the division. But it very well could easily flip. And
my Ravens scoop up the 2 seed because listen, I absolutely think they could beat the Chiefs on Thursday.
Yep.
It could be a contender for game of the year already. Just tossing that out there. But I feel like it's
the difference maker between the Chiefs being the 4 seed and the 2 seed for me. That's actually insane.
Yeah. So like that game matters a lot in the long run, absolutely.
Which is insane because
I absolutely think the Ravens can beat the Chiefs, but I'm playing it a little safe in the AFC this year, and I'm saying the Chiefs win on Thursday, and because of that, they are the 1 seed.
Yep, and I have the Texans there, and for all the reasons we've already explained. I think, but the biggest, what the biggest difference maker for me is, and I think this was not mentioned, I think their division is nowhere near them.
Who, the Chiefs or the Ravens?
The Texans. I'm sorry, the
agreed.
1 seed, because they're my 1 seed. We talked about that. I think the Texans are I don't think anyone's close in their division.
Well, okay. I think I'm higher on the Jaguars than you are.
For sure.
And I think the Texans drop one to the Colts. So I have the Texans going 4-2 in the division.
Yeah, I have them going undefeated in their division. And
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest difference.
It's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
Totally reasonable.
It's understandable. Yeah, that makes total sense. And again, that's a difference maker. That's literally the Ravens game. It's a difference makers between the Chiefs being the 1 and the 4 seed and the 2 seed, and the Texans winning their division like that. They could be the 1 seed for me just by like flipping 2 games.
I agree.
Wholeheartedly.
Like I think Chiefs, Ravens, Texans could be 1, 2, and 3 in just about any capacity.
Correct. Yeah.
I think the Dolphins, Bills, and Jets are so close that they kind of beat up on each other that whoever wins that division, I feel like is 4 no matter what.
Okay, I can understand.
You know, and the other 2 are 5 and 6.
Yeah.
So for me, I think you're higher on the Bengals than I am. So I had the Bengals at 7,
which is understandable.
Which is totally reasonable, I think. So yeah, I genuinely think Chiefs, Ravens, Texans are 1, 2, and 3. The order is to be determined.
I think it's funny because our playoffs are the same in a completely different order.
Oh yeah, our order is all kinds of fucked up, but it's the same teams.
It's funny.
And our NFC is closer in order, but we actually have a different team.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the Bucks making it.
No, and I have the Rams.
I don't have the Rams making it.
Excuse me. Yeah, exactly. All right. So speaking of playoffs, let's talk Super Wildcard Weekend predictions.
Okay, let's do it. I guess we didn't talk about Ravens, but really, I think the only thing to talk about is Derrick Henry.
I mean, come on,
that's
so good.
Huge. That's gigantic for the Ravens.
God, I don't need to talk.
Like
about
other than that, the Ravens
said, "Yeah, I'm."
Other than that, the Ravens are still insanely good. So yeah,
Lamar Jackson coming off an MVP season again.
Yeah.
The defense is still great. Like, oh my gosh, the Ravens are scary with Derrick Henry, bro.
Yeah. So, Super Wildcard Weekend. My buys are Chiefs and Lions at the moment.
Texans, Niners.
Totally reasonable.
Cool.
Okay, so let's talk our 2-7 matchups because I feel like those are the easiest ones to predict.
Yep.
Doesn't happen often doesn't happen often where a 7 beats 2. It's happened once ever.
Yeah.
So my AFC 7-2 is Ravens Bengals.
Mine is Bengals Bills, but Bengals are at home.
Which is interesting because we mentioned this before we started recording, or maybe we were recording, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I ended up with 3 divisional matchups in the wildcard round.
Yeah, you said this before we recorded, and so this is where I wanted to say this because if the Cowboys and the Packers were the Eagles, Lions, Cowboys, Packers flip in mine, we have the Eagles v Lions, and then I'm sorry. No, I'm lying to you. They don't flip in any capacity. But if either one of those situations happen, we'll have one extra division matchup. Like they were that close to being that way. It's like Lions play the Packers or Eagles play the Cowboys, but they were not in the same spots. So it was pretty funny.
Yeah. So my
AFC, if the Rams won a game and the Cowboys lost a game,
right,
I would have 2-7 be Eagles Cowboys, which would be really funny too.
So yeah, I have 2 Ravens against 7 Bengals.
Ravens.
Listen, I like the Bengals, but I think the Ravens are the better team. They win the division for a reason for me, and they win the division by 3 games for me.
Yeah, I understand.
So I'm picking the Ravens to win that game for me.
I have Bengals at 2, Bills at 7. I have the Bengals winning this game.
Totally reasonable.
Yeah. So Bengals are at home. So.
Okay, my NFC 2-7 is my 2 Niners and my 7 Falcons.
Yeah, makes sense. I have Eagles, Rams.
Niners win for me. And the Falcons, listen, the Falcons take a leap. I think it's I don't think it's
period.
Bold is not the right word to say that the Falcons make the playoffs. I think it's great that they make the playoffs, but they're not going very far with that, I don't think. I think they're good enough to make the playoffs. I don't think they're good enough to make a splash.
Yeah, I agree.
So Niners beat the Falcons easy 2-7.
Yeah, I got the Eagles beating the Rams. I think the Rams can actually compete with the Eagles, and it can be really, really scary for the Eagles. But I think with the season that the Eagles had, there's a reason they're the 2 seed. That's why they get there. Eagles move on.
Yep. Okay. Your 6-3s.
This one's fun. The Jets play the Dolphins. The Jets are at home.
Uh-huh.
But I have one of my 2 road upsets in this one. So the Dolphins are going to go into MetLife and beat the Jets. Finally, winning a playoff game for the Dolphins.
I love to hear that. I think that's totally reasonable. We have some interesting commonalities here.
Okay.
Because I also have 2 road upsets happening in my wildcard weekend. It is not this one because I have my Jets losing, which we do have in common, in Houston.
I
I think Houston beats the Jets.
Okay.
For my 3-6.
So far, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. And
Okay.
my other one is Lions at home against the Cowboys,
Mine is the Eagles at home against the Cowboys.
which is funny.
And if it's in the link, I think the Eagles win.
I a valid.
You know,
I have
like
the Lions beating the
I
Cowboys.
feel like neutral site, Eagles are better than the Cowboys.
Yeah.
I think Cowboys, Jerry World Cowboys are better than the Eagles.
Yeah, it's always like
so.
It never fails.
Yeah, like if we're gonna consider Eagles and Cowboys matchup, who's the better team? It's who wins at a neutral site.
Yeah.
Because the Eagles should always beat the Cowboys in the link, and the Cowboys should always beat the Eagles in Jerry World, but barring dramatic drama, you know,
right. Barring injuries,
so,
barring anything crazy like that.
In a neutral site, the Eagles are better than the Cowboys, which means in the link, the Eagles are better than the Cowboys.
Right. Yep.
So I have 3 Eagles beating the 6 Cowboys.
Yep. Cool. I have the 3 Lions beating the 6 Cowboys. It's funny that the Cowboys both are 6 seeds and they both are going home in the first round.
Okay. So both of my road upsets are my 5-4s. I have both of my 5s beating both of my 4s.
This is kind of tough for me because I understand. What's your 5-4 in the AFC again?
It would be Dolphins Bills, my third and final division matchup,
So
and I have my
upsetting the Bills.
I do. Road Dolphins beat the home Bills.
Okay, I have the Chiefs at home against the Ravens. This matchup sucks.
That's a rough one.
So I have the Chiefs winning, and the reason I do is because the Chiefs lost in week 1. And that's the reason they're sitting here, and that's the motivation that they get to win this game.
Okay,
and
reasonable.
I don't like that either. I don't like that one of these teams has to go home before the conference championship. It feels weird.
That does feel weird.
Yeah. So it sucks, but it's just how the cookie crumbled. So yeah, Chiefs are moving on. The Ravens are going home, sadly.
Okay. My NFC 5, yeah. My NFC 5-4 is the Packers. I wouldn't even call this a road upset, but they beat the Bucks.
Yeah, I have Packers at Falcons, so we're in the same boat.
Yeah. Doesn't feel like an upset because, like, yeah.
Okay. So then my second round matchups become Dolphins at Texans, Packers at Niners, Chiefs at Bengals, Lions at Eagles.
Okay, mine become Dolphins at Chiefs, Packers at Lions, Texans at Ravens, Eagles at Niners.
God damn. That's tough. Those are tough.
That's a bunch of tough matchups.
Those are tough.
I feel like the easiest one for me to call is that the Chiefs beat the Dolphins.
That's valid.
For me.
Okay. Yeah, my easiest was the Texans beating the Dolphins at home.
I agree. That's easy.
That's
you know,
that's the only one.
Of the 8 teams that we have 7 in common because I have the Ravens and you had the Bengals here. So yeah,
correct.
I think we're
going to have
both your scenario,
except for
based on your opinions and my opinions, the Dolphins are the worst of those 8. I think that's fair to say.
I agree. I think we're going to have the same Final Four, by the way.
We might.
I think we for sure have the same Final Four.
I don't know. My Ravens are at home, remember?
Oh, I forgot about the Ravens. Sorry.
So, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
So yeah, the Chiefs beat the Dolphins for me as my 1-5 matchup in the AFC.
I have Niners. The next is Packers at Niners, and I have the Niners. Now, I think this matchup is way closer because the Packers played them at home last season. On the road last season. It was a closer game that people want to give credit for.
It was.
So, I'm going to give it to Niners. So, them again. Packers have a better chance this season, though. I'll tell you that much.
My 5-1 is Packers at Lions.
Yeah.
And I'm really high on Detroit. So I'm going with Detroit to beat the Packers at home.
That's completely and utterly valid. I love it.
Okay.
Next
for my
oh yeah, go for it.
My 3-2 in the AFC is Texans at Ravens.
Okay. Texans at Ravens, bro. Holy shit.
And I hate doing this.
Do it.
Where I have just the 1s and the 2s that win them all.
Do it.
You got to have one upset in the divisional round to make it spicy. So Texans beat the Ravens.
Nice. So wait, we are.
So yeah, we do have the same Final Four. I'm lying to you.
Are we sure? My Eagles are at home. We'll see.
Against.
We'll see.
Who?
The Detroit Lions, unfortunately.
Okay.
Chiefs at Bengals for me. I went back and forth on this for a minute, and then I realized I think I can't trust the Bengals to win this, but the only team that I've ever seen stop the Chiefs from going to the Super Bowl has been the Bengals. And initially I had them, but not this year. I think it's the Chiefs' time to shine. I think the revenge arc is coming back once again.
Yeah.
So I have the Chiefs heading to Houston to play the Texans in the conference championship. And the Niners are awaiting the winner of Lions-Eagles.
I have the Texans going to Kansas City in the AFC Championship.
Look at that.
So, interesting. Okay.
Both of them 1-3, by the way. We just flipped them. Just thought that was funny.
Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. So my 3-2 is Eagles at Niners.
It's been real.
That's the closest game out of all these, I think. But Niners will move on.
It's been real.
Yeah. Listen, like a divisional round for the Eagles, I don't think is bad this year. Like Eagles are a top 3
in the conference championship.
Eagles are a top 3 team. I think I'm okay if they're in not in the conference championship if the Lions and Niners are, because I think those are the teams that are close.
Yep.
You know, if this is like the Packers, then I think the Eagles are pissed. You know, but like if it's Lions and Niners, that's I think realistic.
Yeah, I agree. So I have Lions heading into the link to play Philly, and I think this is the toughest matchup I had in the entire playoff in this round. Like, this was really tough. Up until this point, outside of obviously conference championships, Super Bowls, I feel like those are always hard. This one, like, where it feels like, okay, you should have a little bit more like, oh, yeah, I feel pretty good about that. This one was really hard for me to decide. Overall, I felt like it, after seeing success from both teams the last 2 years and what they've done, I think it made more sense for Detroit to upset Philly in this round. So I say Detroit moves on.
Okay. So then you have 3 Lions at 1 Niners.
And 3 Chiefs at 1 Texans. That's kind of fun.
And I have 3 Texans at 1 Chiefs and 2 Niners at 1 Lions.
Correct.
So we have the same 4 teams, but we have flopped the locations entirely.
Yeah, facts. Because you have Detroit, Kansas City as the hosts.
I do.
I have Houston, San Fran.
Okay. Let's talk AFC.
Okay. This matchup's rough. Okay. This matchup's really rough because I think Houston has made the leap. I think they finally have done great things. Kansas City is your defending champs 2 times. Like, they've won back-to-back. They've done so many great things.
No team has ever done a three-peat, by the way.
They've beaten the Ravens. They've beat the Bengals. These are like the people that they're conquering, the people that have beaten them in the past, and they're the man. This is them. However, for me, they're on the road. And they just beat the Bengals on the road, and going to Houston is a whole different beast for them after Houston has had a phenomenal season. And I think Houston accumulates that, and they finally make it to the Super Bowl in NOLA, and I have them winning.
So you think Houston wins the
KC.
Super Bowl? Or Houston wins the conference championship?
Oh, they get to the Super Bowl is what I'm saying.
Okay, they get to NOLA. Okay, for now.
NOLA. Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't mean that like that. So, yeah, the Texans beat the Chiefs. It's a tough one, though.
Okay.
Obviously.
What about your NFC? Because I want to tell the whole story here.
Okay.
Okay.
I think after what I watched last season, because this was the same conference championship in the exact same environment, Lions at Niners, same exact thing. The Lions, to me, threw the game away. I think they beat the Niners. They should have won. They do not make the same mistake twice, and they go on the road into San Fran and beat Detroit. So we have Detroit playing Houston for the Super Bowl.
2 teams that have never even been to the Super Bowl playing in the Super Bowl.
What kind of story is that?
It's the same as mine.
I know. It's so good.
How cool. That's so interesting that you have it in Houston and in San Francisco. I have it in Kansas City and in Detroit, but we have the same idea. Houston beats KC, Detroit beats San Fran.
I think if Chiefs have it at home, they win, though. I'm going to say that now. I think it's so hard to beat them in Kansas City.
It is. But at the same time, I'm confident that, I'm confident that Detroit beats San Fran in Detroit.
I agree. I also think it's harder. I mean,
in my power
obviously these are 50-50.
rankings, I was risky in the NFC. With that in mind, I'm playing it safe and saying that the Lions win. I'm not doing this 1-1 Super Bowl bullshit. Fuck that. I hate it. So I said 3 Texans beat the 1 Chiefs and
Okay.
on the road because I think it's fun.
I have it flipped, but I also have a 1 and a 3, which is hilarious.
So then in NOLA, Sunday, February 9th, Detroit Lions, Houston Texans. I don't think we've done this yet in the podcast where we have the same Super Bowl prediction.
I think so. I think it's the first time.
Yeah,
I want you to know it really pained me to tell you that the Eagles lost to the Lions in the divisional round. But I was like,
that's
they're
hard.
going to the Super Bowl, bro. That's how it felt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so who wins the Super Bowl between the Texans and the Lions? And give me a score.
I didn't write a score down. I'll be honest with you. I should have. This was a very, very hard game. I'm going to write a score down right now, though, while I'm thinking about it. Okay. This was a very, very hard game to predict. Because these two teams are very fun against each other, and I think they match up.
It is so much fun. It's so much fun.
You look at them on paper; they match up pretty well. I think this comes down to what I've noticed in recent Super Bowls is the teams that make the riskier plays tend to pay off and win this.
Mm-hmm.
Philly is a prime example. Houston going for things on 4th and 1 when they shouldn't. Did I say Houston? I meant Kansas City. Going for things when they shouldn't. And who's one of the riskiest coaches in the NFL and has rewarded the most from it? Mr. Dan Campbell. So I will have the Lions winning 27-21 in Super Bowl. What are we, 59? In NOLA.
59.
That is my prediction.
All righty. You took the words right out of my mouth. Genuinely.
That's crazy.
Lions beat the Texans 24-23.
Okay. Yeah. Trying to think how they get to 20. Just a few field goals. And 24.
23 is 3 field goals and 2 tutties.
Yeah, that makes sense. Unless they 3 tutties and they magically get a safety in the Super Bowl. Which, who knows? You never know.
Or 3 tutties and a field goal, but you missed a PAT.
Correct. Thing too, which you never know with Miami Fairburn.
Kyrie Fairbairn would be executed.
Honestly, on site. he would not leave NOLA.
So that's so weird that we had such wildly different playoffs, but we ended in the same spot that Detroit wins, that the confetti is blue and silver.
It feels weird. I don't like saying Detroit wins.
I like it because it's, knock on wood, probably not going to fucking happen. Yeah, but it would be really cool if it did.
Listen,
it'd be really cool if it did.
Eagles, then I'm actually okay with the Lions. As long as, I'm telling you right now, as long as it's not the Chiefs, Cowboys, or the Niners, I'm content. Is that bad to say? I think it's anybody but those 3. I'm literally okay.
In our conference championship, we have 3 of the 4 teams from last year. Meaning we potentially have the nightmare scenario once again, which would be Chiefs Niners.
I can't do it because then I'm forced to cheer for the Chiefs again.
I'm forced to cheer for the Niners, but I don't mind doing that. I don't mind doing that.
With an undying passion, and you know this.
Niners are the local team here, so
I just don't.
I don't mind rooting for them when it's not the Chiefs.
I just can't rock. It's Deebo Samuel. It's him. It's just him. If he's not on the team, I think I'm happier. I just cannot stand that roster, bro. I don't know what it is.
Okay. Well, before we get to the playoffs, we got to start week 1.
True.
Beginning of the road, Thursday, September 5th. Let's drop some week 1 predictions. What's going to happen this week? Opening game, we got a rematch of the AFC Championship.
A beautiful
Lamar Jackson, save us.
Right.
Except maybe actually do it this time.
Right, actually accomplish the goal.
Yeah, Ravens at Chiefs. I already told you what was going to happen because we talked about this in the whole playoff situation. I think the Chiefs win. I think it's safe to say that they do, but it would be really fun and really upsetting. And I think really possible if the Ravens do win. I'm going to play it safe and say Chiefs.
I think back to last season, and history tends to repeat itself. Your Super Bowl champion Chiefs coming home to play a very good, scrappy team. They played the Lions last season, and they lost. I'm going to give this one to the Ravens. It's going to be a fun opening day on Thursday.
Totally fun. Thursday night football
Gotta
be the best game of the year. It's up there.
It could be up there. And honestly, there are some fun matchups this week. Like the primetime matchups all hit. All of them hit. All of them hit. Every one of them.
For sure.
Thursday, Friday. Dude, Sunday night is a banger. And then
Sunday night's a banger.
Monday's
sneaky fun.
As long as, the history does not repeat itself for Monday Night Football, should be sneaky fun.
Yeah,
Monday afternoon games that are cool.
Monday's fun for dudes like you and me who know the context here.
Right.
That this is Aaron Rodgers in San Francisco.
Right.
Yes,
this is great.
The youngins don't know why this is important.
Yes, but they will. Because they're going to probably say it like 6 times on the
They probably will. It's how the broadcast works.
And then there's
watch an NFL Films documentary. Gosh, do it one of these days. I'm
curious to know how much the Sunday tickets cost for Titans at Bears. That'd be a fun game to go to, just to see Caleb Williams opening. Oh no, I can't. I work. God damn it.
Okay, but speaking of Friday, we got our first ever NFL game in the country of Brazil.
Yeah, and they sent both
heading to South America.
Which is crazy.
But the Eagles, I think, are wearing black.
They're wearing white with black.
Well, they're wearing white jerseys, but I think they're wearing black helmet, black pants.
Correct. They're wearing white on black. For the first time in for Eagles history, they've never worn that combination. By the way.
Well, this is kind of the first year that, the NFL started doing this thing that college football has done, which is awesome, and I love that they're doing this. Is alternate helmets.
Yes, and we have 3. You get 3 helmets this season. You get your main one that you wear with pretty much your home or away jerseys. Your alt jerseys, also known as the Color Rush jerseys, they get a separate helmet now, and then you get one for your. I believe some teams are doing a classic jersey, other teams are doing a second alt. But in the Eagles,
second alt, a throwback, something like that.
Yeah, the Eagles are doing their throwback jerseys with the Kelly Greens again, and they have the Kelly Green helmet. They have the Color Rush all black, so they have the black helmet and then the green helmet per normal, the Eagle green. So that's really cool. I love it. I don't know what the other teams are doing. I just love that the Eagles helmets are all fun, and they're all.
So what they did when they brought out Color Rush is that they said you can't change helmets
early
because it was a safety issue.
Correct.
What a lot of teams did was change logos, like the Broncos did, for example. They went to the classic D logo, but they kept the same helmet.
Correct.
So this year the Broncos have their they totally revamped their uniforms.
Which is awesome.
So the Broncos have an orange helmet, the Broncos have a blue helmet, the Broncos have a white helmet. I think
orange helmet goes hard, by the way.
Safe pick. Yeah, I love the orange helmet. Looks good. I like the white ones. What do they call it? Like snow cap, I think, like mountain, something like that.
That's clean.
Yeah. So Broncos are rocking a navy blue, an orange, and a white helmet.
Love that. I think the Bears have all orange Color Rush this season too, and I think it's phenomenal.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love it. I love that they're giving us multiple helmets. They're letting us the teams are being more creative with their jerseys. I love it. And the Eagles get more out of it. I genuinely, all black helmet is so good. It's so good. I'm just glad we get it. I've been switching up the color combinations in Madden a lot. So it's really fun to utilize.
That's what I think is cool because like college football loves to do this. Like, I worked for a college football team at Nevada, and that was my favorite thing in the world was being all secret. It's like we got the curtains up, the equipment room is locked, our windows are closed. If you need to speak to us, you gotta knock on the door.
That's funny.
Because we built like brand new silver helmets for Nevada.
Okay.
And like that, and stuff like that. We were doing that stuff. We did black helmets one year where the logo was like the state flag.
I love that.
And that was a weird choice, but I'm glad we did it because we brought that out to play UNLV, whose one of their colors is black, and that wasn't exactly a popular choice in the community.
Oh, that's funny.
And then we went 0-2 in those unis, and we retired them very quickly.
Yeah, Oregon's a prime candidate for this. Like they've always had crazy jerseys and colors. And
exactly, yeah, stuff like that.
Everything, so love it.
So speaking of uniforms, who wins the football game?
Yeah, well, the uniform task.
Yeah,
I'm going Philly. I think it's a tough matchup. It's a fun matchup.
It is,
but I think Philly's just they should win the game. I hope.
I agree. Neutral location, which I think makes this much more interesting.
Agreed.
Because if this is in Lambeau, I think the Packers win easy. Sorry, you know. But like at the end of the day, neutral location. I defer to my power rankings. Last I checked, Eagles are 3. Packers are 4, so I'm going with Philly as well.
I love that. No upsets here. I
do
hope the Eagles come out and win this game. I think it sets the tone for the season because this is one of our harder, unfortunately, outside of divisional matchups, this is probably one of the harder teams you have to play this season. And it's week 1, so that sucks. But, I'm here for it. Eagles tend to also start strong. They've started strong these recent seasons, so It's a matter of finishing strong is the hard part here. All right, let's head to Sunday. We've gotten 2 primetime games out of the way. I think this is like Friday. We never open the season on a Friday.
No, that's new.
That's very new, and it's in Brazil, which is even crazier. So, and we don't get any of our other games until like week 5, our international games. So
yeah, we got 3 games. We got 1 game in Brazil, 3 games in London, and 1 game in Germany this year. I feel bad for the Germans who got to watch Giants Panthers. By the way,
that's tough. They always get hoed.
That's tough.
I've noticed
they always get hoed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Steelers at Falcons to kick things off here on Sunday football. This is kind of a weird matchup.
It is.
I think both teams are in a weird spot. I did go with the Falcons to win this game.
Yeah. This is an interesting matchup for sure because I feel like these teams match up very well. It feels like the Falcons' defense is good and the Steelers' offense is bad. The Falcons' offense is good and the Steelers' defense is great. You know, so it kind of feels like somebody's got to give. In my season predictions, I said the Falcons win, but I don't pick the Falcons, so I'm picking the Steelers.
Okay.
Listen, I'll give them a week.
Okay.
You know,
you got to see them. They got to break the curse.
If the Falcons win, I'll start thinking about picking the Falcons. Well, probably not anytime soon, but looking at week 4, I'll maybe start considering it if they win this game.
Maybe week 2 and 3 for sure not. They get Eagles and Chiefs in back-to-back weeks on primetime. That is tough.
Yeah. So this is the only game I changed for my season prediction. By the way, it was this one because I don't pick the Falcons.
That's understandable.
I don't do it, so I'm picking the Steelers.
There you go. All right.
For the principle.
Cardinals at Bills. I think the Bills are just a better football team. Unless Kyler Murray comes out and cooks, which very well could happen. I'm going with Bills, though, to start the season off.
Bills are worse than they were last year. Cardinals are better than they were last year. Bills are better than the Cardinals.
Agreed.
And it's in Buffalo. I'm going with the Bills.
Yeah, sounds good. Titans at Bears. I think the Bears are a better football team. They might need a couple weeks to gel, but opening up on the Titans is the equivalent of a tune-up game in college football. So I'm going to go with the Bears.
Yep. This is preseason game number 4 for the Bears. Yep. Or 5. Did they play in the Hall of Fame game? Why do I feel like they did?
Didn't the Hall of Fame game get like canceled or something? Or one of the games
I don't think so.
Got canceled? My Google search is taking a while here. It was Bears and Texans.
It was the Bears. Okay.
I swear it got canceled or something.
So yeah, you could argue this is preseason game number 5, and I think this is kind of like the real action tune-up game for the Bears, for Caleb Williams to start building some momentum and possibly bring some hope to the Bears. I'm also going to go with Chicago to win this game.
All right. Patriots at Bengals. This is the time for the O-line to figure out what they need to do because the Patriots are not a great team, and I don't believe they have Matthew Judon anymore. So I'm going to go with the Bengals.
No, he's in Atlanta.
Oh, my God. I forgot about
that. Right? I'm also going with Cincinnati.
Yeah, man. Love it. Texans at Colts. I think this is a cool matchup to start the season since it's in Indianapolis.
It is.
But I think Houston is just borked. Anthony Richardson could pull off upset week 1, but I'm going to go with Houston to start the season off.
I am in the same boat. Like, at the end of the day, week 1 is a little bit of a hard time to make some really bold predictions. Like, I think the Colts are good. I think the Texans are better, but it's in Indy, and I think that's a difference maker if this is week like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think after we get to the first like 3 weeks, we tend to learn what we think is good and what we think is bad. So
yeah, listen, we historically do pretty bad in week 1, anyways. Yeah,
it's been
so I'm not going to be heartbroken if I'm wrong here, but I'm going with Houston.
We don't know until we start to pick up our really good predictions in like week 4 is when we really start to cook.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Texans at Colts, and we still have not gotten an undefeated week from anybody. I think we were 1 game off last season.
I was 1 game off. It was fucking Washington.
It was insane. It was so close too.
All the Commanders had to do was win, and I would have had. I went 13-1 that week.
It was a 16 game week, and I went 14-2 1 week. I think that was the closest I've been. So next is Jags at Dolphins. I think the Dolphins are just better. I'm gonna go Dolphins, especially since they're home.
This game is closer, I think. But I'm gonna go with the Dolphins.
Yeah, valid. Panthers at Saints. Give me the Saints.
Yeah, easy.
I don't really have a
Panthers not good.
That one. Vikings at Giants. This feels like a weird game, but I think the
This
Giants
is a weird
steps
game.
up. So I'm gonna go Giants.
I'm gonna go with the Vikings.
Okay.
I think I like Jettas.
Understandable. His chances against the Giants are pretty solid.
Yeah.
My only issue is he has Sam Darnold throwing to him, and
Listen, like when we rank these backup quarterbacks, I think we're going to be surprised about where Sam Darnold lands.
you might be right.
I don't think he's the worst option in the world. I guess we wouldn't be. I guess Sam Darnold wouldn't be on that list. Oh, well, he's the starter right now.
I guess technically he's playing.
So it would be Nick Mullins, which
that's a tough one.
Maybe that's a little bit of a more questionable one.
That's a question mark. All right, I don't even know who our backup quarterback is right now.
The Eagles, isn't it? What's his face? Where's number 7? White guy.
We had Tanner McKee, but we got someone else.
Why can't I think of his name? Oh, it's Kenny Pickett.
It is Kenny Pickett. We traded for Kenny Pickett. That's right.
Who was I thinking of? Who was the backup last year? That's who I was thinking of.
And then it was Tanner McKee. Was the third string.
No, there was another guy.
That was it.
Then who? Maybe it was a couple years ago.
We had Will Greer for like 20 seconds.
Who was the backup to Minshew? Like, who was your third stringer that year?
I think it was Tanner McKee. I think he's been there for 3 years.
Who the hell am I thinking of then?
Eagles, depth chart, 2022.
No, Tanner McKee was drafted in 2023.
Oh, you might be right. Ian Book?
No, I'm not thinking of Ian Book.
Okay, well, that's the last.
Okay,
last
whatever.
2023 was definitely Tanner McKee. I'm like almost certain he was on the practice squad all season. He was our emergency quarterback like all season long. Yeah, it was Hurts, Mariota, McKee. Yep.
Not important. Okay, Vikings.
You took Vikings. I took Giants. Raiders at Chargers. This one was weird and tough, and I think it's very hard to pick. I'm gonna go with the Raiders though to upset on the road this time.
I agree. You got to have a few of those fun ones in week 1. I'm going with Vegas on the road.
Cool. Broncos at Seahawks. This is the revenge of the Russell Wilson trade that no longer exists anymore. So Seahawks,
right? Yeah.
Seahawks are gonna win this one though.
Yeah, this is the Noah Fant revenge game.
There you go, Noah Fant revenge.
So Seahawks, I guess.
Yep. All the players that were a part of this trade, I don't think outside of Noah Fant are on the either of these rosters.
No, Drew Lock's in New York. I think Shelby Harris is out of the NFL.
That's crazy. Cowboys at Browns.
This is we're talking before. This is a fun but whack matchup.
Yeah, I think
this is, by the way, the first game that Tom Brady's going to be calling this year too.
Oh, that's kind of cool, I guess.
This Cowboys at Browns.
It would have been a little cooler if it was like Commanders at Bucks, but you know, that's just me.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, listen, I understand why they did it, but Greg Olsen did not deserve to get fired. So Tom Brady better be really fucking impressive.
Exactly.
So, I'm gonna go with Cleveland.
I also took Cleveland. I think it just makes more sense. I don't know. It just feels weird.
Okay.
Okay. What's
Commanders at Bucks? Interesting matchup for sure.
I think it's definitely weird.
It's weird for sure.
It's like
it's interesting.
Middle of the pack NFC teams, and I'm just like, oh, this should be fun. But it's also like I want to see how Jaden Daniels starts.
I do too. Like at the end of the day, I think this one is easier for me than it was for you because we saw in the power rankings. I'm high on the Bucks, not very high on the Commanders. So I'm going with Tampa.
I am high on the Commanders, but I think this is the opening for a rookie, and that's where the Buccaneers
that's not easy to win. You know,
just rookie won a playoff game. Like that's
we usually like to measure when do rookie QBs win week 1, and it's not very often. I think it happens for Caleb Williams because I think he has a dream matchup against a not very good team.
I think Jaden Daniels could win week 2. Seriously, he plays the Giants. Like I think that's super
easy. Yeah,
very
I think
it's not. I'm going to take the Buccaneers.
Yeah, like what? So our 3 that are starting because Penix is not, McCarthy is not, and Drake May is not.
No. So it's
but so the other one is going to be Bo Nix, and it could happen week 2. That's kind of a tough call though. You know.
Week 3 again, same thing. Week 4 is tough. Oh God.
Listen, if it doesn't happen by week 5, I'm pissed because we're playing the Raiders in Denver. So if it doesn't happen by week 5, now I'm mad. Yeah. If it doesn't happen 2, I think it happens 5.
I think maybe 2, maybe 3 should be 5. That's my mindset.
What did I say in my season standing? I think it happens. I think I said it happens at 2. Okay. I did. I say they beat the Steelers next week in my season one. So
it's completely valid. I don't know the Broncos their first win. I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief.
So we're both going with Bucks.
Correct.
Okay.
Rams at
Sunday night football.
Woo! I love this matchup. It's so much fun.
Rams and Lions is so much fun because
so much fun.
A lot of fun. This was a heat Sunday Night Football pick. If you were going to pick Ravens and Chiefs to be the Sunday Night Football, which makes sense because it's your
Thursday
kickoff game, this is the second best game this week. This would be the first best game in most other weeks.
Correct. This one's fun, especially since they played each other in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They did. Wild card
this is
game,
this is wild card. This is a wild card rematch in Detroit with Matt Stafford now on the Rams again. Still, Jared I should say, not
on the Lions.
Mm-hmm. This is a fun matchup, so I'm gonna go with Detroit.
Same. I think it makes sense.
Think they're the better team.
Agreed.
Okay. Then Monday Night Football, we got A-Raj visiting his hometown in San Francisco. Play the Niners. I hope that Aaron Rodgers stays healthy.
Same. Just get out of the game healthy. Maybe.
And
I don't think so.
Maybe ideally win the game and stay healthy, but priority would to stay healthy.
Correct.
So I think at the end of the day, this is the Niners. This is, in your opinion, the best team in the NFC. In my opinion, the second best team in the NFC. This is a tough matchup for the Jets week 1.
Correct. Especially with a lot of new pieces, a lot of new things moving around.
And the Jets get a little bit of a break after this because they're in Tennessee, home against the Patriots on Thursday Night Football, home against Denver,
so that's
in London against the Vikings. They get a bit of a break coming up. I think they can afford to lose this one and just make sure that they play well, they play clean, and they stay healthy. I'm gonna go with San Francisco.
Yeah, if you're telling me at the end of 5 weeks you're 4-1 because of who you play in weeks 2 through 5 and you lose to the Niners, I think that's a win. So give me the Niners as well to win this game.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay, so then correct me if I'm wrong. We are wrong. We disagreed on 3.
Yes.
I picked the Steelers.
I did not.
I picked the Vikings.
I did not. And then Ravens Chiefs.
And I picked the Chiefs. That's the other one, yeah.
So I have Ravens, Eagles, Falcons, Bills, Bears, Bengals, Texans, Dolphins, Saints, Giants, Raiders, Seahawks, Browns, Bucks, Lions, Niners.
I also picked the Vikings.
That's right.
We said that one.
We did. The only difference was Giants, Vikings, Steelers, Falcons, Ravens, Chiefs.
Okay.
So say yours.
Because I'm picking the Chiefs, Eagles, Steelers, Bills, Bears, Bengals, Texans, Dolphins, Saints, Vikings, Raiders, Seahawks, Browns, Buccaneers, Lions, and 49ers.
That is correct. We have exactly that. Yep. So those 3. So, someone's taking a lead early on. Has to be.
I think so.
Has to happen because it's an
objectively speaking, somebody's going to be winning by week 1. So let's go.
Let's have it. We're here for it. I love it.
Oh man, we've been here for 2.5 hours. We always got a lot to talk about in week 1.
Week 1 is just so much. There's so much to talk about in week 1. There's just so many things we have to mention. Week 2 should be a little simpler, but I think that's it. That's all we got, and we like to ramble, so that also doesn't help. It doesn't help our case. All right. With that being said, I think we're good. Any other comments, concerns, questions?
Dude, it's football season. It doesn't feel like it is,
We're playing literally in
a few days.
Dude, it's 5 days.
Today, it's Sunday morning, and it's the day of recording this. Happy September 1st.
Yes.
We're a few days out from week 1.
You'll be seeing this September 4th, but yes, happy September. So this is great. So I'm excited. This is going to be a great season. We're in for a lot of fun. I think this is going to be a more competitive season than we've had in recent years.
I agree. This is I think the tightest the NFL has been in a minute.
Yeah,
the AFC used to be insane and the NFC used to be not. I feel like the AFC is down a bit, the NFC is up a bit. This is a competitive year.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. So let's have some fun. If you guys enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, favorite, do what you got to do, follow around wherever we are at. We are on every platform that you could possibly think of. I believe it. I know it because I upload it. So if you guys, we really appreciate it, especially on the YouTube. Of course, that's the big one that I really hope that you guys can help us out with a lot. With that being said, any closing comments, Eric?
Dog, I got nothing. This is it.
Infamous dog, I got nothing to end it off. So thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll catch you guys all on the next episode of Behind the Plays. Should be coming out every Wednesday at around 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Or if you're in Eric's standpoint, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Those are around the times that I like to drop them. So we'll catch you guys next time. Have a good one, and we'll see you all next week. Peace.
See ya.